Productions.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. How the heck are you? Welcome to the very last episode of Comic Book Spectrum of 2021. Had you fooled. I know, spoilers. Anyway, glad you're here tonight. Hope you had a great holiday celebration last week. And whether you're watching live or on the rerun, we appreciate each and every one of you. Tonight, we're going to have our regular reviews. Plus, we're going to take a look back over the last year in terms of comic books. And we're going to be telling you what we liked and what we did not like this year. We're hoping you have some memories of comics you want to share with us from last year. But anyway, one thing we also want to share is our appreciation for the one, the only, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, thank you for sponsoring the show when the look of your book matters to you. When you've written a great book, you want a great cover to go with it. Well, Jeffrey Hayes can design one for you, a total wraparound cover, as well as sellable graphics and a trailer, all kinds of great stuff. So check out his Facebook page for Plasma Fire Graphics. Then go to plasmafiregraphics.com, see some more of his published work, and then ask for his rate card. It is very indie friendly. Trust me, it is. Cookie said I could use him, so you know he's affordable. Anyway, check him out. That's Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. We're a part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, and we're a like-minded group of individuals who are helping each other rise together in the broadcasting world, as well as other creative ventures. So please check out our other shows. Later tonight, hopefully, will be Joe Dog McKeel and Stupid O'Clock at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And following that should be Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing, with all of it with great geeky information and discussion, and you can join in too. Good stuff. Then tomorrow we're going to have the pre-New Year's edition of Nevermind the Furthermore, as we deal with New Year revolutions, not just resolutions. And then tomorrow night, Ted Davies will have Drinking with the Davies with a special New Year's special with guest stars, great guest stars. You'll be glad you showed up. And people I'm glad always show up are our Patreon supporters. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators with a modest financial stipend every month. And these folks help keep this show and our publishing online and ongoing. So please check us out at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and find out what we give you in return for your support. We appreciate each and every one of them, and we appreciate everyone that's here right now. Please leave comments in the comment box, and we will get to them when we can. But first of all, I want to get me the heck off this screen, because I've got four terrific people here, and we should have an introduction that features our backup quarterback here. I would like to welcome Jody McFee, Clyde Hall.
Woohoo! Joe's on the show with all of us. All right.
How often does this happen, except on the Dastardly Dingoes, which you all ought to check out this last Tuesday? It was a great episode, a fantastic episode. Fun. Kudos to Brian and what's his name again? Oh, yeah, Chad and right. Damien for see, now you got me doing it. Abusing the poor boy. But it was a terrific show. Brian, you ran a great show, and I was really proud to be on it. And
thanks. It was good to have you guys on the show. It was a lot of fun. And if you haven't watched it yet, like Brian said, scamper on over after this show and watch that one, because it was fantastic. And the last 2 weeks were pretty good, too. We did what was it? Social media, friend or foe, and then we did a special on mental health and creating endeavors. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, definitely check those out on the Dastardly Dingo's YouTube channel and on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network channel. But anyway, we're going to do the usual thing and introduce ourselves. We're going to go around the room. We'll start with Joe and go anti-clockwise, as Glenn B. Fleming would say. So please introduce yourself and tell everybody why you are so darned amazing.
Joe D. McFee, Illinois Institute of Technology, recently moved up to starting running back for yours comic book Spectrum. Yes, I am Joe D. McFee. I'm Joe D. McFee. You know, I am the host of From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. I do contribute to this show every once in a while when one of these guys are absent. And I'm here for the very first time with everybody for this year-end special here. So you never know. It might become a permanent thing. It might not. I don't know.
Oh, I hear the pleading in your voice. It could
No,
be.
no, it's not a pleading. But I do have to say this about tonight. Guess what's back tonight? It's either going to be one of my normal books or we got the mystery. So if you want the mystery, you have to vote now. So just to let you know what could happen, you have the mystery book. Like I stated before, Wonder Girl 6 was out. I did not do it as of yet. And what else came out is Nubia and the Amazons #3. So you got those two or the Ever Tempting Mystery book. Ooh. Which again, I have surprised people before with when I go outside of my norm. So choose now.
No, it's not like that school menu mystery meat, is it?
I hope so.
It depends. It's like, do you like my taste outside of what I normally review, or will you gamble on be behind this bag and board?
I like that time where you reviewed the horror comic. That was my favorite.
Yeah,
that was good.
That was
really
good.
Was. Yeah.
Yes, but again, we still waiting for the comments to choose.
Right. Well, it takes time because you have to say it, then it goes up to the satellite, then the little mice have to run through their little wheels, then it comes back down.
But I guarantee I won't be the first person to review tonight because I have to wait for the votes.
Okay, we'll see what happens. So, folks, put your for those watching live, please put your votes in the comments, and we'll tally them up. Now, I know where I stand on this. But don't vote the way I would because, you know. Oh, here we go. Carl Westman says, I'm not falling for the mystery comic again.
But you liked the mystery comic last time. If people remember, the mystery comic last time was Captain Harlock, Space Pirate Captain Harlock #1.
Yeah, I agree.
That was the mystery comic last time. And then for those who normally know how I am, other books that I reviewed outside of that, I did the techno horror Tales in Techno Horror #1, which was and I also did what was the name of the book?
It had a dope cover though.
Mm-hmm. It did have a dope cover. Yeah, a dope cover, but they ended all the stories where it's like, okay, now you're about to catch my interest, and that was the end. Yeah. It's like you don't know how to tell a horror story. It's like you just started the story and then that's it. It's like you finally gave us the giant gator and nope, that's it. She just got eaten. That's not horror.
Yes, it's just horrible. And we have a vote for mystery from Donna Carleen. Glad you and Carl are here tonight. Glad to see you, Dan. Mystery comic. And young Eric Hawkins, as opposed to Pro Slayer Hawkins, says mystery. He thinks he's in Chicago. He can vote 3 times. And I was thinking of the techno horror one. Okay. And let's see. And Pops Van Zandt, thanks for sharing this program. And thank you, Joe D. McFee, for being here. Mm-hmm. Mystery has taken an early lead.
Yes.
So the polls are still open. Vote to see which comic our young friend Joe D. McFee will be reviewing tonight. And
mystery.
If people want a hint, the hint will be, how can I put this? The simplest hint will be Look at Eric's hat.
Okay. And Jennifer Hawkins is voting for mystery as well because she gets a good view of his hat. But anyway, we'll return to Jody McFee and your votes later on. But first, we're going to swing over to Brian Rodman. And your cat is trying to get your drink.
She got my drink, so I'm holding it.
It's got cat.
She likes. Luna likes the condensation. It's
okay. I just thought Luna just likes putting her cooties in your drink.
No,
she likes to drink it. She likes to drink it.
It's a new form of catnip. That's what it is.
There you go.
There you go, baby. All right. Well, while I am apparently, okay, that's enough.
Wait, I want more.
Daddy, well, screw you, Daddy. I'm leaving.
She's like, I only love you for your water. All right. Well, I'm Brian Rodman. I am the author and illustrator of comics like Memoirs of an Angel and The Nebulizer. I'm also now a contributing writer for Stormgate Press. I will be having a story in Stormgate Press's Pulp Reality #4 coming out next year. Very excited about it. I'm about halfway through writing the first draft, and it's coming together really well. I'm so excited to share it with you all. I'm also one fourth of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, which we talked about already. And for everything else, just go to brianrodman.com. And I've got blogs of interesting things to say. I also have tons of comics, some merch. Also, all my social media stuff is up at the top on the homepage. So, yeah, that's enough for me. And I vote mystery book as well.
All right. Well, and we also have someone here who acknowledges the true star of this show. Hi, Luna. Says Carl.
Indeed.
Yes. And Comics Talks and Spots Van Zandt. First of all, thanks for sharing this program, my friend. We have a black pit bull lab named Luna.
Oh, they would not get along, would we? We don't like doggies, do you? No. I love doggies. I love pit bulls. She does not love dogs. She doesn't like any other animals except for Phoebe.
Okay, fair enough. And Ryan Permison has shared this. Thank you, Ryan, and hello to you. And we'll say hello to everyone else earlier in the comments. And thank you, Brian. Appreciate you. And now next is the one, the only, the Pro Slayer himself, Mr. Eric Hawkins, in his brand new hat, looking spiffy.
That's an old hat. Just
it's an old hat. It's a good clue to what the mystery book could be.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I am Eric Hawkins, creator of the Zombie World of Oz, and the Zombie World of Oz, and the Zombie World of Oz.
Pattern begins to emerge.
I'm obviously an independent comic creator, writer, inker, letterer, colorist, and penciler. And I bought a lot of comics this year. These are the ones I bought this year since this show started, mostly for this show. I will reveal that number later on in the show. And I have a couple graphics to show during my top turds and not turds of the year.
This is exciting. This is almost like a real show now. I like it. Anyway, thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
And here he is, the gold standard of reviewers himself, Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde, take it away.
Hello. I am Clyde Hall, and I make stuff up. According to my Christmas shirt that my daughter got for me to reflect my independent authorship and contributing writer status for Stormgate Press. Stormgate is the home of Pulp Reality, where my first B-Man story appeared in the award-winning Pulp Reality #1. His adventures continued in Pulp Reality #2, and now available at www.stormgatepress.com or on Amazon, Pulp Reality #3.
Ooh, gotta get it.
Yes. So take your Amazon gift cards. No, don't hide them. I know you have them. I saw them in your wallet. Go over to Amazon and purchase these fine things, or better yet, go to www.stormgatepress.com and you can find all kinds of books besides just the Pulp Reality anthologies that is the cutting edge in new pulp, and many good writers, many good artists, And we're expanding into comic book, some comic book content with number 3 here, and it'll be furthered with number 4 and Brian Rodman's inclusion. So it's an exciting time to be part of Stormgate Press and to lock on to some of their materials that are for sale. A heads up, I'm going to be part of a multiverse fundraiser next month. The Valerie Perrine Project. Multiverse Fundraiser is a virtual fandom jamboree and a charity fundraiser all rolled into one package. I'll give you some information later on about how you can follow us, but it's a virtual con, and I'm very happy to be part of this as a tribute and a helping aid to Valerie Perrine. If you remember, she's our Miss Tessmacher from the Superman movies. So that is in a nutshell what it means to be Clyde Hall right now.
And that's an awesome thing to be. Thank you, Clyde.
Thank you.
And I'm Brian K. Morris, independent publisher. Let's see, I've got written down here. Independent publisher, freelance writer and editor, award-winning playwright, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant, and tickled to be on this show. Part of many other publishers, and currently working on a couple of books of my own that will be out this coming year. So anyway, that's me. Proud to be here with my 4 friends here, and we're going to have a good time as we watch Superman beat the crap out of that car. Good Lord.
It seems to be making people dizzy in the audience. I saw a few comments.
Yeah, I saw that too. And of course, you know how much it means to me. Anyway, Donna Carlene arranges sour cream and onion chips and spinach dip. I'm ready for this. I'm going over to Donna's right now. That sounds good. And
this will make him dizzy. Dizzy
right.
that.
Yeah, we better have a warning on that one. I mean, it's a trigger warning. I'm here, but I'll make 2 more trips to the bathroom before this show gets started. Carl, I know what you mean. Well, if you had the Hail Pail and the Podcatheter available now from Rising Tide Enterprises, you'd be covered. Dan Holyfield mocks us with his laughter. And this cold sore hurts and my back is a little achy, eyes the bourbon. Much better. Dr. Witzman is in the house, and if you have any other ailments, he's got a real quick remedy for it. And what DM did you get? Do you want to share? And that moving background, Woozy, it's working. And Glenn B. Fleming, good to see you, sir. Hey, Brian, just in time to say goodnight. Have a good one. I'll check out the show tomorrow, Glenn. Sleep well. Hope you have a good one. And nice hat, the Eric and Joe D. Oh, wait, what's that? That didn't so. Hold there we go. Joe D, he's so excited. And if you're still on at 2 a.m., no doubt I'll see you there. It could happen. It could happen. We got a lot of stuff to review. And Dapper Top Hat Dad says, Lissy. Okay, moving on. It's like Naughty Holder, but without the mirrors, and I'm probably the only one here that gets that reference. And Comic Stock Pause Van Zed, hey, yo! Good to see you. And hello, Teresa Don. Evening to you. And the animated background is a bit much. Yes, it is. But too much is never enough for this show. And I'm using it as a distraction. Anyway.
Still on the rails.
Say what?
Yes. And we're still on the rails.
We are still on the rails. It is now 7. We have been on the air for 19 minutes, and we are still on the rails. But this cannot last. This cannot
But
endure.
not for long.
That's right, my God. We're going to melt the rails tonight. Comics Talk with Pops Van Zandt says, I got in contesting number 2 today with my granddaughter's fan art in it. Best book of 2021. Simply because of that one illustration, I'm sure. And we've got the usual votes for mystery. And Ryan Permisson, hello, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you, Ryan. Hope you are having a good night. And talking Boba Fett in a few minutes, and to get ready, I am watching ROTJ. Have fun tonight, everyone. You too. And My Sweet Luna, that was a hit for George Harrison in 1970. My Sweet Luna, Hare Krishna. And anyway, Ryan Purpose says, Clyde is styling and profiling in that hat and shirt. Andrew Welch, greetings, Rising Tide from the Jester at Large. Good to see you, Andrew. Hope you're having a good night, my friend. And Clyde and I will be at the Multiverse fundraiser. That sounds interesting. I'd like to. And you can't remember? Remember what? Anyway, it's just the booze making me dizzy. We'll see. Then it is working. I remember Valerie Perrine in that locker room scene in that show with Bill Bixby. Oh, do you mean, was it Steam Bath by Bruce J. Friedman? Also with Jose Perez. Never heard of it. Best 30 seconds on TV was fully naked Valerie Perrine taking a shower back when PBS was really the place that, Mom, I'm gonna watch some educational stuff. Kind of the same reason we were reading, like going to the library and picking up National Geographic when we were 10. So
watching I, Claudius.
Oh, that was another one. Yes. And there was a history of Isadora Duncan with Full Frontal on it. And my mother walked in just as I'm watching, and I'm trying to tell her, well, I've never heard of her. I'm interested in ballet, Mom. Yeah, that's it. And she didn't buy it any more than you guys are. And greetings from Jester at Large Entertainment. Gizmo the Clown is in the house. Good to see you, Jester. And that background has to go. It's making me dizzy. And unless you want grandkids on the show, I can't drink. You can drink. This actually enhances your alcohol. Trust me. And yeah, exactly. And I got a complicated DM from someone wanting me as an editor and asking about prices and how to get paid. Okay. But the formation of that sentence makes me think that they asked you to be an editor and they're wondering how much you will pay them to be your editor. Am I getting that? Okay. Anyway, Dan Holofield, everyone needs to believe in something. I believe I need another beer. That's the kind of dedication this show needs. I'm telling you. Help me rebuild my YouTube channel, says Andrew Welsh. Take a moment, check it out. Follow me, and I follow back. I have followed you, sir. Make sure you follow me, too. So check him out. Anyway, Andrew is very, very funny. He really is. So, and speaking of funny, we've got some stuff tonight. We're going to do our first round of comic reviews. And then we will launch into the comics that some were great and some were...
turds.
You're being too kind. Anyway, and what were the ones that we had to call the tower to get clearance for? That's what we'll say. Anyway, Comic Talk 20 says, have them pay you, then tell them how to reach you. There you go. And hey, if I can help Dad throw out bad comics, says Lissy. And
Fee.
Excuse me. I beg your pardon, Fee. And Carl Witzman will take cash and bonds, no crypto or Beppo or Comet the Super Horse. And Nick Dockard, evening, but that background is kind of painful. Okay, fine. I will get rid of the background. Fine. Screw y'all. Anyway, let's
Brian, I love the background. I think the background's the best background ever.
Thank you. I have another one. So if you don't like this one, see, I listen to my audience, Brian. I heed their wishes, so
Actually,
I'm here for you guys. Be careful what you ask for, people. Anyway, Donna says she was offering PayPal or personal check. I don't have a PayPal account and don't want one. Don't blame you. And Jennifer Hawkins says, Lissy, and you have no concept of my alcohol tolerance.
It is 0.
Okay.
That's bad.
That is not very good at all. Whereas mine is it's like that old Bill Cosby routine about getting.
Mine is 2/5.
Exactly. Yeah, it reminds me of that old Bill Cosby routine about when he's getting his tonsils taken out as a kid, and he then does an aside that they make you count from 100. Once they give you the anesthetic, and you count backwards from 100 to on back. And said the more you drank, the more the longer you could stay awake. And he had an uncle who was on the operating table and went 3, 2, 1, 0. Now what do you want me to do? So that's where I'm at. Anyway, I'm following Brian. Brian is following me. We're on a slow circle, eyeing each other suspiciously. I'm just suspicious. And Pops Van Zandt mocks us with his laughter. Suck up. I know. I am. I'm so desperate for your approval, people.
Well, she's talking about Rodman.
Oh,
I can do this now. Rodman.
Yeah. There you go.
I bring gifts for everyone.
That's right. Joey is going to be on here more often, and Boing Boing Superman is great. Thank you. See, we have Boing Boing Superman.
Normally, I can't remember to point this way or that way, but down. That's easy.
Now I can just. Oh, there we go. Oh, look, I can be a puppeteer for Eric.
I'm bringing Eric to next year's Imaginarium. Joe Dog McKeel, Stupid O'Clock says, what about accepting gold and silver, Carl Witzman? And gold and silver are gratefully accepted, and boinking is always great.
Oh.
Carl will accept boinking. We're stopping with that one. Anyway, we are
There
going
with the rails.
Yeah, there went the rails, and it wasn't me that did it. It wasn't me that did it. I'm giving Donna full credit for it. Although I probably didn't have to read her comment. But anyway, at least not out loud. Anyway, let's start the reviews for the love of God, please. And let's start with our special friend here, Joe D. McFee. Joe, you ready?
Okay, since we got a sense of what we're going to do tonight, it ain't going to be this one.
Mystery book. Mystery book.
Is it going to be that one?
Jody McMystery. Come on.
It's the mystery. Now, I gave you the hint. I gave you the hint about Eric's hat. One person.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yes, it is.
Lady
Mechanica. Lady Mechanica. This is the first issue of Monsters of Mystery of Hell, #1.
Oh,
And
nice.
to me, it was like, I don't normally read steampunk. It's like, you know what, people go. I try not to pull a Mr. Morris and be like, oh, this guy only reads Amazon books. Yeah, right.
What?
Yeah, I read more than that. It's just that when it comes to other stuff, I'm very, very picky. So I'm up here. It's like, you know what? I heard about this Joe Benitez series. I heard that it was supposed to be some kind of good, and I'm just going to pick it up and see what we can do with it. So, like I stated before, it is by Joe Benitez, and we have some assistance by M.M. Chin on the writing aspect of it. Some assist by Martin Montel on the art, lettered by Michael Heisler, and colors by Beth. I can't pronounce the last name. I'm going to say Solatello. I'm going to try to get into focus. So you know which Beth I'm talking about.
Yes.
And it looks like there's a whole bunch of different covers for it. Don't really care. Again, alternate covers. It goes back to my whole rant about speculation. But this thing is not about rants. It's about reviews. So the story starts off pretty much, kind of steampunkish, in the very beginning, out there in the middle of nowhere. You got the horse and carriage and everything, and they're up here racing. They're trying to race to get to a certain place by a certain time. It's like, we have to get to the ministry. We have to get to the ministry. We have to get to the ministry. We have to get there fast. And they're looking out, and they finally get to this one building, the one place that they're trying to get to, which is this ministerial building. The carriage pulls up to the ministry and everything. It's like, yes, it's we have it. There's in here. It's like in here. And it's like, as soon as they knock on the door, they come out, and it's like, is everything okay? And then they walk through the door, and then all of a sudden, it's almost like people are getting scared, because it's like they know what's in the carriage. So pretty much after everything that was going on, it was like people being scared, preemptive attacks and everything. They're up here. It's like, stop being a fool. Tell us where everything is at. And they showed Lady Mechanica.
Ooh.
Pretty much knocked out, just pretty much out of it. So it goes back to like this backstory about her being at the fair with all these different kids and everything, and about her life beforehand, and how she was, kind of like people looked up to her more like as a hero than anything else. And everything was nice and good and everything, and people was enjoying the fair and everything that they was at, and the whole thing about her relationship with the people that she kind of made and kind of took care of her all this time here. So one thing leads to another, and pretty much the person who created her, told her about her next mission and everything, and she agrees. Now fast forward back to where we're at right now. They finally get her back to the operating table. They're trying to figure out how she ticks, how she actually works. So pretty much they think that she was, they thought that she was dead until all of a sudden she wakes up. And as soon as she wakes up, they pretty much try to subdue her again. And then here's the thing that I don't like about books: never put a pin up in the middle of a story. If you go and have a pin up in the middle of the story, put something somewhere in the inside cover and say, hey, there is a pin up in the inside the book. Give some people a heads up. It's like, hey, you might end up taking the staples out of the book, or loosening up the staples to get whatever pin up and stuff. And it's a double-sided pin up here. So that's how one side look, and the other side, I really gotta do it like this, but like half and half. So that's the top half, and that's the bottom half.
So make sure you buy 3 copies.
One to kind of destroy and whatnot. So she wakes up and she actually starts fighting back. She doesn't know where she's at. She doesn't realize what's going on. She just wakes up in the middle of this ministry. And, they're up here, using whatever that they can do to try to keep her still, per se. So after all was said and done, the actual person who is there that actually gave the order to bring her here finally shows up, and he's pretty much pissed off at everybody that for the poor treatment of her. So he walks in and pretty much starts, asking her questions and everything, to look at the condition and everything, then knocks her back out using some anesthetic. So after a few minutes and everything, they got her cut open, and she slowly started to come back out of the anesthesia and everything here. And then when she does, she wakes up and she finds herself in a cell. So she's up here like scratching the walls, doing all this other stuff, and then she realizes, like, where am I? I have no idea. So she's pounding on the door and everything, and you have the guard coming down the way and everything. It's like, what's going on? It's like, stop making all that noise. And then she breaks through the door. As soon as she breaks through the door, she tries to escape. And as she tries to make her escape, that's when she finds out that she's in a place where there's other people who are not well. And she has no idea.
Because for a moment you had up in the upper right-hand corner, you had the StreamYard duck on top of Lady Mechanica's body. Sorry to interrupt. That was too awesome.
Oh, you was looking at that. So let me center it for you to get a good look at that.
All right, thank you. No, the duck was was obscuring her head.
Oh.
That was kind of cool. We'll go back and watch it on the rerun here.
Oh, so more like
yeah, see?
Yeah.
It's more like
the book not cooler now. That's a pretty cool book, but now I'm sorry, Joe. I just had to say that. I apologize.
Okay. So pretty much, she kind of realized that she's in some type of house of horror with this ministry here, because she doesn't know what's going on with all these different people as of yet, and she kind of like waking up into that, and next thing you know, she gets knocked out again. And at that point. And what I hate about this, in very, 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 very tiny letters, it says, let me get it into focus. Come on, camera, focus in on it. It says, to be continued, in tiny, tiny, tiny letters in the middle of the page, not at the end where you could normally follow it, because they don't want to mess up with her pretty face. They put it right there in the middle. That's a pet peeve of mine. And then we get to see, like I said, the StreamYard, the new cover for issue number 2, which is the specialized lined up. Yes. Which is the StreamYard duck cover of Lady Mechanica.
Lady Mechanica.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you have other issues, like other things coming out, like the whole thing about the stray dogs and all this other stuff, all these other advertisements for Image Comics and whatnot.
No Batman ads?
No Batman.
No, it's an Image Comics. I'm up here like,
I don't care.
No, it's like, it does not affect the Image. I'm like,
I don't care. Eric and I are thinking alike again.
Yeah. Well, overall, it was not a bad issue, especially for a person that doesn't really particularly care too much for steampunk nor horror. It's not that bad. So out of a possible 10, I give it a 7 out of 10.
Ooh.
And the only reason it's a 7 out of 10 is because, for one, I don't know much about the lore about Lady Mechanica. So I haven't read anything before it. I'm coming in this brand new, fresh, a non-reader of all her other adventures here. And I was kind of able to follow it to a certain degree, but not really as far as her background is concerned. But as far as how they set up this set of books, they did a good job. But the thing about it is, like, they didn't do all that great of a job for somebody who never read one of her books before. It gave you kind of like a good base to understand where this story is going, but not about the character itself. So I had to knock it down a couple of notches because of that. But overall, it wasn't a bad read as a whole here. Would I recommend it to other people? Why not? And especially if you're into like steampunk horror, why not? It's probably right up your alley. For me, I was like, I might pick up an issue number 2 just to see where they're going to go with this, because the ministry itself to me now caught my interest as far as what are they really doing there. But that's just me.
Very cool.
And if you guys like the concept of the mystery book, when I'm on here, I'll probably keep doing it. So if you don't want me to always talk about my normal, I would try to have a mystery book, something that I probably would normally not bring up on this channel or my channel as a whole. And you can vote, because I'm here for the people, not for myself.
There we go. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
Where Brian is here for himself and not the people.
And
I'm here for Luna and not the people.
That's right. Yeah. We serve many masters here, but anyway, thank you, Joe. That was awesome. And let's get back to your comments here. Nicholas Tockard, welcome. Sturkle and Squid Doodly do wah wah wah. Who will draw first? And Carl Witzman observes, there go the rails. And good night to you too, Joe Dog McKeel. Have a good show tonight, 9 p.m. Stupid o'clock. You'll love it, people. And Donna Carly is taking the credit for no rails. Well, you deserve it. And anyway, and Andrew Welch says the Gizmo the Clown offers many options to pay, including PayPal, Cash App, and fried chicken. Yep, KFC is a valid currency.
Boo, Popeyes. Boo.
No.
Yes,
please,
I agree. Popeyes.
No, Popeyes is filled with monosodium glutamate.
I'll
Lee's
take
all
it
the way.
Lee's, thank you, Eric. Thank you. Lee's is the best.
Mitch's hot chicken.
Lee's, then fine. Give me Harold's chicken.
Or Indies. They're delicious.
Hodak's is really good downtown St. Louis.
Yeah, and actually, the fried chicken at Cracker Barrel is actually quite good now too.
Surprisingly, Walmart actually has good fried chicken.
Yeah, they do. I'm bitter about it because I don't like Walmart.
Yeah. The Brian go-to Kroger's.
Damn you, Walmart.
Yeah, they have good chicken too, but actually, surprisingly, Walmart has better chicken, and I'm really angry about it. It's really freaking good.
Well, next time I see you, I'll bring you some Walmart chicken and tell you that I got it from Eisner's, okay?
But Cindy, how would you sustain yourself as food is evil?
Well, that's true.
We'll get to that comment a little bit later.
And Lady Mechanica says, Nicholas Tockard, sorry, had to duck for spoilers. I know they're flying around here. We'll probably get more before the evening's over. And Cindy kept good morning in Australian. Mwah! And for those of you who have been watching for a while, anyway, Dan Hollenfield says, I'm quite fond of steampunk in general myself. Look interesting, Joe. Thanks. And thank you, Cindy Kep. You know, we try to be stylish around here, and we figured it out, Dan.
It was the finest hat money can buy. It was the most stylish one. It was all fancy. Just like the Emperor's clothes.
I was going to say, Joe's modeling the new Emperor's line of headwear. Lovely, Joe.
Hey, that's the same kind of pants that I'm wearing.
Oh, and Cindy Cap says fast food is evil. We understand your point of view, and who cares? Just give me fried chicken that's edible, says Lizzie. Well, we're glad you have standards that it has to be edible rather. And Walmart is better than KFC. I do agree. Thank you, Jester at Large. Glad you agree with that. And we are now caught up with the comments once again. And keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming, because we got plenty more show to go. And as he takes a steadying drink there we go. Till death does he draw. Let's draw upon the wisdom of Brian Rodman. Brian, what have you for us this week?
Oh, well, I don't know how much wisdom I have, but I'll give you 3 guesses as to what kind of book I'm going to review, and 2 don't count. That's right,
Superman.
It's Hellboy. Yeah, Hellboy, and I gotta say, this review is dedicated to Donna. Donna, go get this book. The second and third issues are out now. The issue 3, I think came out either last week or this week. This is issue 1. It is Hellboy, the Bones of Giants, and I'm sure we all know what that is that he's holding. That is Mjolnir. So we dive right in. What?
He is worthy.
Mjolnir.
Yeah. Mjolnir, yeah. He is worthy. Hellboy is worthy.
Indeed.
Of what?
That's a good question.
Hellboy is Steve Rogers. Okay, I can go on now.
Right. Well, I really now that I've read issue 1, I want to take this photo and put it in the meme where you see this at the top, and then at the bottom it's Thor from Endgame saying, "I knew it."
We have a comment real quick.
No!
Yeah, that's right.
Now I wish we had that picture from Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, the premise of this book reads: when a startling discovery is made in Sweden, the BPRD sends Hellboy and Abe Sapien to investigate. Asthma breath. What ensues is a wild adventure full of Norse legends, mythical creatures, and a threat that could bring not just Earth, but the 9 realms of Norse mythology to their knees. This was a novel written by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golden, and it is, of course, based on that book. The artwork is by Matt Smith. Colors are by Chris O'Halloran. Letters are Clem Robbins, and the cover is by Matt Smith as well. When we start off this issue, it's just one, wintry night in Sweden, and lightning is just pounding this one spot. And this man realizes it and says, I think I'll go check that out. And the year is 1988. And this, you just get your first glorious skeleton, who is this guy, most unfortunate, was struck by lightning and electrocuted profusely. There's your sound effect, Eric. And next to him is, of course, Thor's hammer. The next day, a bunch of Swedish scientists are, out on site, observing, obviously, what they have now discovered is Thor's hammer, because they realize that none of them can pick it up. It's like it is welded to the earth, and out of nowhere, I love this reaction. The first person that sees Hellboy says this: "What in the world?" And you see Hellboy and Abe Sapien with a couple other BPRD agents, probably red shirts, let's be honest. And
wait, they got
Hellboy,
red shirts like the Star Trek?
Symbolic red shirts. They're probably gonna die.
Yeah, so it's like Star Trek.
Usually, yes. But I mean, they're not literally wearing red shirts like in Star Trek. So Hellboy and Abe are on the scene, and Hellboy begins to investigate the hammer. And if you've read any Hellboy comic, you know he takes zero precautions whatsoever. He is OSHA's worst nightmare, and he just seemingly picks up Thor's hammer. And
Cool.
there's also been a thing going on is if you try to pick it up, you die, you get electrocuted. So but you get struck by a bolt of lightning. So Hellboy picks up the hammer, and what do you know? Kapow! He gets struck by lightning. But not only does he get struck by lightning, he gets transported and transformed into seemingly Thor fighting a battle against Norse monsters.
I forgot what snake god that is. That's the actual god, I think.
Yeah. I mean, check this out. Just
Nice.
And honestly, I gotta say, just to push pause on this, and I'll revisit this book later on when we talk about the best books, our favorite, least favorite books of the year. My goodness, it reminds me so much of Norse mythology, which came out earlier this year. Just the art style. I mean, Mike Mignola also drew a few pages in that.
Also by Dark Horse.
Also by Dark Horse. Neil Gaiman did a great job in the prose book and in the comic adaptation as well. But in Thorboy then defeats this reptilian snake god, and then when he comes to, he is angry and still kind of messed up and just starts yelling at people in Nordic crazy person language. And they are scared to death of him. And then Abe is able to calm him down. And Abe's like, okay, clearly something happened to you. Why don't you put the hammer down and we'll, try to process through it and see, what we can do about this. And
No. He loves the hammer. He loves his hammer. No.
He loves the hammer. So much, in fact, the hammer loves him back. He can't put it down. It has now permanently attached itself to his right hand, which anybody that has read Hellboy knows that his right hand is very significant in the weight of the salvation or destruction of the world. So I thought that was really cool. We don't get any answers on that specifically just yet. My favorite part of the book, I literally laughed out loud at this part, is this bureaucrat guy has now come and picked them up, and he's taking them to the government authorities in Sweden because they have to analyze, what has happened. They have to, apparently Thor's hammer has been found, and they are trying to, it's under their jurisdiction. They have to bring them in. And Hellboy is saying, no, I'm getting this feeling that we need to go north. We need to go north. And the guy's like, no, we can't go north. You're under my jurisdiction. I'm taking you to the embassy. And Hellboy gets in his face and in this Nordic accent yells at him that they will be going north right now. And he says, oh, right. Okay. and I don't know. It was just really, really funny. That's one thing I really enjoy about this issue is you get the classic Abe Hellboy banter, which I miss. I love the ongoing Hellboy and BPRD books. But eventually, if you read them, Hellboy and Abe were not together for a very, very long time. And if you love the movies, that's one of the best part of the movies was Hellboy and Abe just kind of heckling each other, going back and forth, and they were great together. And you get a lot of that in this issue specifically, which I loved. I laughed out loud and chuckled quite often throughout this just because of their back and forth. And I don't want to get into it too much, but they do end up going north, and they find a very mysterious cave that they enter, and they realize Hellboy says that he had sensed evil, and it was there, but now it is gone. And so they know the one person that they can go to about these things is someone of a lot of significance in the Hellboy universe. And I'm just going to show you this one panel as a little teaser. If you remember this issue and you enjoyed it, you're going to like what happens next. So I can't encourage you enough to go out and get this. Like I said, this issue, it's a great beginning to a story, which is obviously what you want. It's number 1 of 4. It really gets things going from the start. The dialogue, I love the artwork. Obviously, the artwork is amazing. The dialogue is the best part. That and the dialogue really it brings the story to life in ways that I have found lately most comics don't do. And this is just very, very well written. I absolutely had a blast reading it. I'm going to read it again, and I've got issues 2 and 3 to read after this. I haven't read them yet, but I'm sure they're just as good because they're all by the same team. Overall, I would give this book a 9 out of 10. It is an excellent start. I do wish there was a little bit more answers in the first issue. I'm not mad that there aren't, but it does seem like it just really introduces everything and it just kind of leaves you hanging completely. But not in a way that's frustrating, just in a way that, I wish there was a little bit of something to go off of, make a promise, answer that promise, and then ask 4 million questions. Like, at least answer one thing, and then I think it would have been a 10 out of 10 for me. But other than that, it's a great book. It is fantastic. I think we're really going to dive deep into Norse mythology, which I love. So yeah, and an honorable mention. I have this. Unfortunately, right now, I got this on Kickstarter. You can't go anywhere and buy it. So I can't officially review it here because that's our rule. You have to be able to go to a store or a website and buy it. But issue 1 of I don't know if it's Ed Gein or Ed
I think it's Ed Gein.
Is it Gein? Okay.
I think
Ed
that's the way I've always pronounced it.
That's what it looks like. Ed Gein, Demon Hunter. And it is violent. It is dark. It is a dark comedy. And boy, is the artwork to die for. If you know what I mean.
I saw what you did
Look
there.
at that.
Nice.
I mean, that is a
and
crime
white.
scene that at the bottom they go into detail with, and it's pretty graphic, so I'm not going to show it. But there is some amazing artwork in this. You just look at the beautiful black and white. I love this panel. So cool. But Ed Gein is a former murderer who dies, and the demons of hell hire him to go after a rogue demon that has escaped hell and is roaming the earth, causing chaos, and could very well break the essentially just tear the cosmos apart with what it's doing. So they hire Ed Gein, who's just this kind of hick, simple guy, kind of has a good heart, but he killed his mom in awful ways. So also a terrible person. But you start to really like him by the end of the book. And it's just issue 1. So the reason how you can follow is head to you can't really see that reloadcomics.co.uk and subscribe to their website, and you can follow for along and get an update for when issue 2 is going to launch next year. I have followed Christian Rossi on Instagram, and he is hard at work on issue 2. He shared quite a bit of artwork from that, so it is in progress, and it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend signing up so you can get on board when issue 2 comes out. Other than that, that's all for me. I'm going to take a break and not talk for a while.
Don't blame you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Now, that one's different than the Eric Powell Ed Gein book, too, isn't it? Because Eric Powell did one, too. The guy that does Goon.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some comments here. Jester thought he was OSHA's worst nightmare. Well, and Frog G, welcome, sir. And he goes, Thor boy, and Dan Hallfield goes, better than Chore boy. Yeah. And I've heard of Ed Gein on True Crimes. Carl Whitson says, yes, Ed was the inspiration for Norman Bates, also Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an old joke that Ed Gein was not only like a murderer, he was also a cannibal. And the joke going around at the time was people wondered why Ed Gein's sofa had goosebumps when it got cold. So anyway, real family fare. Anyway, Doug Early Carlene, he also tanned the human skin to make things like a suit and a lamp.
He's roughly the analog for Buffalo Bill in
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, or Manhunter. Yeah.
Right.
Put the lotion in the basket.
Yeah, there we go. Dan Hallfield says, given who Ed Gein was, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that demons are afraid of him. And Lissy, we got you covered. We know what you said. So anyway,
he's telling you how to pronounce it.
Gynus and gynecologist, not Gein. Well, I've heard various experts say Gein, so we'll agree to disagree. But I'm right anyway because I control the show.
That is usually very rare. You being right.
Anyway, damn you and your facts, Eric Hawkins. Anyway, so I'll wait and no, I don't think I should read that just for large. So anyway, because who knows what the basket's made out of. Anyway, thank you so much, Brian. And now we'll go to obviously the man who's here to build up my ego, Mr. Pro Slayer Hawkins. What have you got for us tonight, Pro Slayer?
Well, last week, I picked up Rush and Rush number 2 and Moon Knight number 6, and I couldn't review either one of those because I couldn't remember what happened in the previous books. I finally read Moon Knight number 5. It was excellent. So then I read 6, of course, because in number 5, Mark Spector finally opens up to his therapist about his father and things about his father and why he does what he does. It was a really good book. But what I thought Rush was, because I thought that was the one that had a Jack the Ripper in it. No, it was Cross to Bear that has the Jack the Ripper in it. So I had missed the last 2 issues of Cross to Bear, so I picked those up. And I was like, dang it. So what happened in Cross to Bear 1, 2 brothers who, they're part of an order that hunts things, creatures, demons. And apparently Jack the Ripper is one of these creatures. But the older brother has left the order and seeks solitude out in the West. And has a wife now, and then the younger brother comes in to the same town he's living in to hunt Jack the Ripper, but also to reconnect with his brother. And they don't get along; they got in a fight, and, but now they're kind of getting along. But the wife doesn't like his brother showing up because she didn't like how the order controlled Edgar's life, and had basically ruined his life. So this picks up after 2 and 3 pick up after the brother Simon shows up. Him and Edgar reconnect. There's a fight in the bar in issue 1 where Edgar shoves a gun down one guy's throat, breaks all of his teeth out. So they follow them and they have to get in another fight, but only because Jack the Ripper kills Edgar's wife. So now Edgar is on the hunt for Jack the Ripper, who is apparently a demon or a creature of some sort, supernatural. Who knows? Just like issue 1, 2 and 3 are really good issues. I like the story. I like stuff about Jack the Ripper. So it's cool. But now you got basically 2 stories going on. You got Edgar hunting down Jack the Ripper with his Native American adopted son and his brother Simon. You have the father of the guy that Edgar killed in the street, who had earlier shoved a gun down his throat and broke all his teeth, hunting down Edgar. And it's a cool Wild West, no skeleton horses. I mean, lots of horses and Wild West stuff. And I'm not going to tell you who it's created by because I can't pronounce any of these names. I know they're all European though, but their grasp on the Western storytelling in a comic about the West is really good, and it surprises me. But it ends still not finding Jack the Ripper, but they're still hunting him down. So there's more issues to come, and this is the book I thought Rush was, but Rush was not it. So basically, that's all my review is going to be because I got more stuff to go through because I bought all these freaking books and I got to tell you which ones are crap. This one is not in the crap pile, so this one goes in this pile.
Ooh. Yeah, I noticed the disparity between the two, the size of the two piles there, Eric.
But hey, if you like westerns, if you like good dialogue, if you like good storytelling, if you like supernatural, if you like kind of Hellboy light, you'd probably like this book.
Eric?
So I give the last two issues that came out both a 7.5.
Nice.
Which of the two series did you prefer as far as the Jack the Ripper take?
Well, now I can't remember what other book had Jack the Ripper. What's the other one, Clyde? Because I can't remember.
I don't know. I just know that you confused them, and then you said,
well, the other one didn't have Jack the Ripper.
"Oh, okay."
But there's another book out right now that also has Jack the Ripper. I can't remember which one that was. I hope it wasn't a Colin Bunn book. It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been. I counted those up. I didn't have as many as I thought. But no, this one you don't see so much of the Jack the Ripper yet. I think he's going to have a bigger story coming up, show up more, do more things. But killing the dude's wife, that was pretty brutal.
Something for the whole family. Anyway, Dan Holofield says, Eric, look up a website called Casebook Jack the Ripper sometime.
I will look that up, Dan. Thank you.
And another is called JTR Forums.
Mm-hmm.
Dan has told me both about these in private, and I've not gone on either of them yet, but they do sound intriguing because I'm kind of an aficionado myself. So
yeah, I like Jack the Ripper. H.H. Holmes. Oh, I love stuff about H.H. Holmes.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. That guy's fascinating. But anyway, thank you, Eric.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, that was great. And Jester at Large Family Entertainment asks, do I have Cookie's permission to be right? I think she wishes I would be that more often. Anyway, we are caught up with the comments here. And so now, it's a shame Ted Davies isn't here. Because, we were talking about this before the show. Of all the reviews on here, I seem to get the most crap. But then again, I've got broad shoulders. So anyway, you probably think I'm going to be reviewing Superman 78, which was awesome, and I give it a 9 out of 10. No, I'm not going to do that. And you probably think I'm going to review Action Comics with a wonderful cover on it, as Superman explores more the life of being in War World, and you think I'd probably give this 8.5 out of 10 thing. But I'm going to do something different, something completely out of my wheelhouse. I'd like to review this book by J. Michael Straczynski. Guys. Anyway, so actually, that is an excellent book. I do recommend it as a little side here. It is the autobiography of J. Michael Straczynski, who's written Superman, as well as Babylon 5, The Twilight Zone, Amazing Spider-Man, whole bunch of great stuff. And it's also about how he emerged from a life of abuse and poverty to basically let's see, I'm getting some noise here, so I'm gonna see. Okay, I got it. Anyway, I'm just, this is just temporary, guys. Anyway, okay, we got it. Thank you very much. Anyway, it's a terrific book about how he escaped abuse and physical and mental, as well as poverty, and moving 21 times before he was 18, and fighting his way through the Hollywood writing system. It is a fantastic book, and there's a mystery involved in there too. It is not an easy book to get through, but it is excellent. But something else I'm going to review tonight is we're at the halfway point with The Blue Flame. Clyde and I have reviewed this in the past, and this continues to be a very entertaining title. In this issue, the trial for the fate of the Earth begins, and our hero here does he starts to learn about his fellow real life superheroes, and the news that he's getting is not great. As he's trying to launch a defense that why should the Earth not be destroyed? No horse skeletons, not many. It's very psychological, so there's not a whole lot of sound effects and everything. But the whole idea is that the line between fantasy and reality is starting to blur for our hero. And he's finding some major setbacks in trying to convince these aliens that Earth is worthy of being spared. And if he fails to defend us in this case, this particular courtroom type of trial, he and the Earth will be destroyed. So he's fighting for that as his private life is falling apart, as his sister's significant other is picked up by immigration for not having the proper paperwork. And it's a very emotional issue. Very worth reading, though. Very, very interesting. The artwork in here by Adam Gorham looks a little less slick than usual. Don't know why that is, but it's still very, very good. And by the way, the things you see around here are not glare from the screen, my lights. That is on the comic itself. But it's a very introspective issue and a good breather before we get to the next phase of the Blue Flame's existence. The coloring is right on mark. The writing from Christopher Cantwell is, as always, very good. Kurt Michael Russell, I should give him credit for the really good coloring. And, of course, there's a little catch-up on the back. Now, I don't mean from my lunch. I mean, it'll help you keep pace of what's going on in this title. Blue Flame has been an exceptional read for all 5 issues up till now, and the 6th is no exception. I definitely give this one I give it, just because the art looks a little less slick than usual. They've been really, Gorham's been really good about that, but it's still good. It's still very good. I give it like a 9 out of 10, to be honest. And it was quite entertaining, quite enjoyable. And we'll be back later. And it did make my my list of quality mentions in terms of good comic books, but you'll have to stick around to find out what the rest of them are. So, and that is my review.
Now, the colorist Russell,
thank you.
He has a YouTube channel, and he often streams him coloring the covers for those. If you're interested.
Yeah, I've caught Cookie watching those, because Cookie does some coloring, computer coloring.
He has a lot of tutorial videos too. Yeah,
he does, and he's been a huge help to her. And he does an exceptional job. And it's not like he's got like a flashy palette like some colorists. It's almost like, you think of George Harrison in terms of music, like a George Harrison, who isn't like a guitar pyrotechnical virtuoso like a Eddie Van, like an Eddie Van Halen. Somebody like that who produces all these amazing sounds with the guitar. This is a guy that seems to suit the coloring to the artwork and to the mood, rather than putting it in your face and going, "Hey, look at what I can do with Photoshop," sort of thing. So I really like that approach to coloring.
Yeah.
So and it is very obvious that his alien showcases have a different palette than the earthly ones. So, and also the flashbacks are a little different than the contemporary stuff. It's really a good book, and I'm elated actually that I think it's supposed to run 12 issues.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, I'm glad it does because I'm really engaged with the story.
It's the
And I'm
weirdest
liking it.
psychological. It's the weirdest psychological superhero read of the year, I think,
Wow.
because we used to think the Zeta Beam, taking Adam Strange
Yeah.
from one place to another was weird, but this is a whole other. This is that with a whole lot of baggage attached to it that I still haven't quite figured out, and it makes the story very compelling.
Yeah, it reminds me of a series from the 80s called Amazing Man, where it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing on superheroes. It was about this New York neighborhood where there's one guy who just came out of the asylum, like Dorothy Gale in Eric's book. He came out and he has a helmet with an M on it. So he's not Amazing Man, he's Amazing Man.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the characters, it's an ensemble book. There you go. And it's on my list.
Sexy Dorothy.
Sexy Dorothy. Anyway, but no, there were some stories that in Amazing Man that were all the background characters, the ensemble, but you grew to know them in such a way that, you start to worry about them. You start to care for them. And I'm finding the human interaction on here almost more engaging than the alien menace. It is that and it isn't, isn't that the alien menace is that bad or I've seen it all before, whatever. It is a fresh take on the alien menace, on that sort of thought. But the human interest stuff is what's getting me. I mean, he's dealing with substance abuse problems now. He's trying to get a girlfriend. His sister and he have an off-on relationship, and now the problem with the boyfriend and immigration stuff. That's the stuff that I'm keyed into. That's the stuff I really want to see resolved. So,
her sister's about to have a kid.
That's right.
He's wanting to defend. Yeah, he's wanting to defend Earth, so this kid has a chance to grow up.
Right. So
the pressure is, in both settings, it's on in some completely different ways.
Yeah,
I love it.
I do too. It is a fantastic book, and I do hope that Vault Comics puts out a trade paperback of it, so that everyone can read this thing. It's been a really engaging story so far. So, but speaking of engaging, let's see, Rodman, is that a cordless nebulizer or an inhaler?
It is a nebulizer. This is the inspiration for this. So imagine this, but a suit just for you.
There you go.
This guy, actually, I love this because, if anybody has asthma, usually they give you the big, huge machines, which I have one, but I haven't used it in years because I use this little guy. It's so much more portable, and it's nice, and it does the trick.
Nice. And everybody will think he's vaping, so he doesn't really,
exactly.
So everybody doesn't go, ha ha, can't breathe. Anyway,
no, it's more so people aren't always just be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you dying? Do you need to go to the hospital? And that way I can just be like, shut up and leave me alone.
Oh, Jester and Arch Family Entertainment says the last of my amazing friends, the clown must leave. My captor, I mean my wife, beckons me to do something to earn my continued existence. Great show. Glad you were here, my man. And hope you can rejoin us as soon as the lady of the house gives you written permission to exit your dungeon. But anyway, thank you all so far. Thank you for your comments. Let's have some more if you would, please. But right now we're going to give the spotlight to the gold standard around here, Mr. Clyde Hall. Clyde, what comics are you going to make us want to buy this week?
Well, I've held off because there have been good things that came up at the end of the year. I've held off on this, so we're at issue 3, but if you've ever wondered what would happen if a fast food employee and a fast food innovator was suddenly victimized by crime and decided to take revenge, the title Chicken Devil answers all of your questions. Now, this is issue 1, and I really liked the vibe that it gave off, including Mitch's hot chicken story, just like you get on a menu at the restaurant.
That's awesome.
It tells how he and Antonio, his friend, got together with his wife and how he met her, and they, have a history of fast food working. How they made their food truck, which was the first part of Mitch's hot chicken, until they managed to expand, and they have 4 locations in Southern California to better serve your hot chicken needs. They also include a menu.
Oh my!
A menu to so you can gauge both your hot and your protein level for your chickens. So it's just
awesome.
I love it. It's very creative. It made my heart happy, that part of it. Although the story, it took a few issues for the story to take off very well. But we are going to review issue number 3. And yes, that is a man in a chicken outfit with a gun and a ball pit.
That's excellent.
So it very much sums up the kind of weird, dark humor of this title. So, Chicken Devil, number 3 of 4. It's from Aftershock Comics. It is written by Brian Buccellato, color and art both by Hayden Sherman, letters by Hassan Otsmain Elahu, and maturity level is it's mature, 17 plus. Let's give you a look at the artwork real quick here. We got, besides the slam dunk cover there, we have some bad guys making life difficult for our costume guy who's trying to hide as an unoccupied suit, but they see through that and go, no, look, it's him. He's in it. Oh, yeah. And we have there's quite a bit of phone conversation in this, set up by phone. So we have conversations between various party members. We have, oh gosh, let's see here. Oh yes, we have the moment when a guy who's been reacting to everything suddenly decides to take charge and act on his own, lash out. And we see what happens when he does. Lots of big explosions and lots of sound effects, Eric.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, without any further, we have, in the beginning of the Chicken Devil series, we don't know who Mitchell Moss is. By issue 3, we've learned he's got a few things in common with people like Frank Castle and Brian Mills from Taken. He's lost members of his family, in Mitch's case, his wife and both their kids, because of criminals. We can tell early on that their deaths are not a strike back at Mitch for any crime he's committed because he's clean. But what he does have is a very particular set of skills. Skills he's acquired in a long career as convenience eateries go. Skills that make him a nightmare for any fast food entrepreneurs competing against his Mitch's Hot Chicken restaurants and their 4 prime Los Angeles locations. Mitch Moss was a hardworking Hollywood head chef specializing in trendy, hole-in-the-wall dining excellence by the age of 19. He was making his own unique contemporary menus by 21. He's the inventor of the proprietary industrial pressure chicken fryer that has made Mitch and his business partner Antonio a force on the quick, high-quality, but affordable dining scene of SoCal. Challenge his cooking supremacy, and he will look for recipes to compete with yours. He will craft a superior culinary version, and he will kill your business. He's a hot chicken sandwich genius, but he's no criminal. That would be Antonio, his greedy business partner who gets organized crime to smuggle heroin in the buckets of their secret seasoning that's being trucked all over L.A. In issue 1, Mitch finds out because Antonio tells him about a little fire in the restaurant warehouse that took out a delivery van, and how Antonio and Mitch's whole family, they all need to go on a long yacht vacation. A really, really long yacht vacation, maybe years. The reason arrived shortly after when organized crime folks come asking why the fire destroyed only their heroin-laden shipment and not the whole warehouse. They suspect aloud that Antonio arranged that fire for the $2 million in product pure profit that he can put into his own pocket. Mitch, a fast food visionary and perpetually distracted husband and father, is surprised to learn of Antonio's illicit activities, and the gangsters, they even believe that Mitch doesn't know anything about it. But they're out $2 million, so they give Mitch and Antonio a limited time offer. Cough up the drugs or the $2 million. Otherwise, you can watch us kill everyone you care about. Quickly unimpressed with Mitch and Antonio's progress, they do in Mitch's family with a motivational yacht explosion. Over the course of the next issues, Mitch grieves in his spared execution by happenstance and blind luck, while a few mob gunmen meet accidental ends. Initially, Mitch wears one of those chicken devil masks from his store's mascot costume to hide his face while he's possibly on surveillance cams or doing sketchy deeds, trying to keep a step ahead of his enemies. Well, by number 3, the chicken devil begins taking on a greater significance. For Mitch, it's a symbol of the comfortable life that he's been satisfied with until it blew up in short, violent order. For the mob, it symbolizes a clueless civilian, a glorified grill cook in a stupid costume. He's no threat, but somehow they keep failing to eliminate him. Meanwhile, their people die in the attempts, none of which is really helpful to their street cred. So, conflicted over the wet water park that his life's turned into, Mitch confers with his mom and seeks her advice. Now, she's doing time for a murder that she absolutely did not commit, she says. Since she has a parole hearing fast approaching about this well-deserved demise that she has nothing to do with. She can only answer him metaphorically because the screws record everything, you know. So some of her pearls include trouble with a guy who has nothing to lose is he's a guy who has nothing to lose. That's why you don't mess with lifers. Also, when it's your only choice, you have to do what you have to do. Well, this compels Mitch onto an educational tour with the criminal element in his life, one where they learn even a guy who's a chicken cook can use body armor and weapons that they provided after unsuccessful hits. He can set a trap because he's somewhat cleverer than most of them. And he can tweak a proprietary industrial chicken pressure fryer of his own design to make a spiffy weapon. He and the lead criminal have a polar opposite conversation from Liam Neeson's I will find you and I will kill you sort. The boss uses all his salty words, telling Mitch by phone how dead he is, how dead he's going to be, how he's a ridiculous chicken cook poster child for death and stupidity combined. He doesn't hold anything back. So it's oddly enough Mitch who goes Liam Neeson on him. All this is done over the phone, and Mitch says, yes, you're right. I'm a dead man. You have taken the life that I've made for myself. And you turned me into that guy, that guy that's nothing to lose. You created a personal devil whose sole purpose is destroying you. So Mitch turns a new leaf in that moment. And then the reader turns to the final page for one of the best, most gasp-worthy jaw drops of the year. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you have to get the book, but it's worthwhile. Brian Buccellado's story is fairly straightforward. The field that he furrows, it does not rotate any crops conceptually until that last page of number 3, at least. Mitch is a non-terminal Walter White in a lot of ways. And a lot of what happens in this series, while dark and violent, is funny. Ironic, what are the odds, WTF moments, also sometimes found in Breaking Bad. There are dialogue exchanges, though, which resonate creatively, humorously, and differently than you might expect. Buccellado also populates the tale with interesting personalities like Mom Behind Bars' Gloria, criminals that are thick but vicious, and a pair of perpetually sparring homicide detectives. In Mitch, he plays with our underlying hope that a regular, imperfect, working guy could rein Ruage onto a dangerous criminal element who's pushed him over the edge. The world that Hayden Sherman brings to life in his art is pretty rare. It's attractively flawed, and it's volatile. It's our world on a really bad, awful day. It also interlocks well within the tone of this narrative. When you can make a pissed-off cook in a chicken mask look like the last guy you want to get on the wrong side of, you've done something rare and wondrous, really. Sherman's colors convey broad ranges of emotions in issue 3. Long shadowed settings make for dramatic setup, and then there's a slow burn into brighter hues for a climactic party-like confrontation. Hassan Otsmane Elau's letters once again deliver an embarrassment of goods, like a Mitch's Hot Chicken all-you-can-eat gift card. His dialogue navigates tricky waters, which include two-way phone conversations with only one side shown sometimes. Keeping source designation on that clear can be tricky. And Osman Allahu, he manages it. His sound effects incorporate fiery and scratched fonts reflecting the train wreck of Mitch's situation in his life. On each page, he innovates ways of making the reader hear this noisy arterial spray of an issue, and his work demands reader respect. He's one of the few letterers that when I see his name, it can make the difference about whether I buy a book or not. If he's done it, chances are I will get it. In a few instances, the chaos erupting from the panels make the flow of talk and action a little uncertain. I had to reread a few of these log jams, but only once each. That current was quickly recovered, but usually this came in scenes which in real life would play out even more confusing and erratic. So art imitating life for some, others could find it off-putting. But either way, the moments are few. They do exist. There's one more issue to go in this first volume of Chicken Devil, and the main difference between it and similar offerings is one, I think, of depth. The creative team here works in irony and dark humor without delving deeply into pathos and drama like the mentioned Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad could make you laugh and cry, while Mitch's story makes you laugh and ouch. Issue number 3 comes closest so far, changing that as we see our hero finally broken and evolving into this different person. And while similar stories impress us with how competent even street-level operators can be, or the brilliance of a chemist producing top-quality meth, none of the Chicken Devil characters are bringing their A game. Not the cops and not the underworld. Even Mitch, though he's proving more adaptable than his foes. And that's where a lot of this title's humor lies. My score for Chicken Devil number 3 is a K-Town double with a side of Antonio fries set of extra hot. That means that you wear gloves while reading it and you don't touch your face. That ranks it 8 stars out of 10.
Wait, we missing somebody.
Hey! Brian.
And Brian's muted.
Yeah. Oh no, Brian, you're muted.
No, let
You're
him keep
muted.
going.
And he's still muted. You muted.
But anyway, what? No, Brian, I was trying to explain. No, I was making noises here. So anyway, but no, Brian was abducted by aliens. That's why he's not here right now. The thing is, this is his second one, and he got the probe, and so he's been outside all day going, "I'm over here. I'm over here." Anyway, he will be adding his comments later on to. Okay, there I saw the pro slayers frowning at me. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, but anyway, he will be in the comments. He has to lay down because apparently the excitement of being on with the four of us, he was overcome with joy. At least I hope that's what it was. Anyway, let's see. We've got Jennifer had asked earlier. Let's see. Yes, Jennifer Hawkins says I need more information about the inhaler for our little asthmatic. And Brian Rodman said, shoot me a DM with any asthma questions you have. I can absolutely help in that area. So if anyone has any asthma questions, consult.
Just slide right into Rodman's DMs.
That's right. Okay. Oh my. Anyway, let's see.
And look, a third person changed their hat too.
Yeah, I felt like I couldn't move my head. I knew it wasn't going to fall off, but that's the way I felt the entire time. I was like, I can't move my neck too much. Felt like Batman.
Yeah.
The Michael Keaton Batman.
Or me before when I switched from headphones to ear monitors. So yeah, I understand. Cindy Kemp, this is my generation. Buck, Chicken Man! He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Brought to you by IBC Root Beer. Well,
that's right.
In our last very exciting episode,
Super Chicken.
Yes, I'm a fan of Dick Orkin too. So, and I hope somebody sanitized that ball pit. And good evening to Sarah. Mwah, glad to see you here, and double the likes and views. Amazing. Yes, this is like in honor of Jody McFee, who's from Chicago. Everyone vote twice. Anyway, nice cliffhanger, Clyde. And Dan Hallfield says the Chicken Devil sounds like a really cool book. And it does sound good. And Jester at Large Family Entertainment is looking for Sanctuary. We'll see what we can do. An 8 out of 10. Wow. Yeah. See. And Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Sarah comes to my defense. I was miming. So there. And anyway, and yeah, Joy, that's it. and spot for Super Chicken. That's right.
Again, it kind of fits. The book has super sauce.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
I bet it does. And
with a heroin additive, it's great.
It's addictive in all ways. And Sarah says, I got the new Winchester Mystery House of Slaughter. And then an unknown comic, Gung Ho Anger, one that she's never heard of before. And I have to say, I'm with
G.I.
you.
Joe book?
It could be.
It might be. And then the ghost of Brian Rodman says, Clyde, damn it, I just told you I can't buy any more comics. Oh, well, he seeks to the comic store. I understand. I'm going to be emailing mine as soon as the show's over. Go, well, I got one more for you.
Well, you got one more issue, and they'll do a TPB of it probably, so you can wait and do what? See, it's just one book. It's just a TPB. So
there we go. And Sarah likes that super sauce idea. Anyway, so now we come to the part of the show. This is the year-end wrap-up. Okay, and we have we've been on for a number of weeks now. Mm-hmm. Only missing one for Thanksgiving, and we have reviewed what is technically known in the biz as a crap ton of comic books. And tonight is when as Eric refuses to look at the piles behind him. Eric, you want to describe what those two piles are comprised of?
I can. I mean, it's really, really good books I enjoyed, and mediocre and turds.
Yes, we will be examining which ones rise to the top and which ones are just floaters.
And some of those are good, but these are the really, really good ones. These are the really, really good ones.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you have some good ones in there. And the unknown comic, it's in the bag. Oh, we got that one. We got that one. And Sarah only spent $12 at Midgard this week. Her comic shop. Well, good for you.
That used to be over 12 comics.
Yeah, that's true. And the ghost of Brian Rodman, I like this. Brian, you will be haunted by 3 spirits. Okay, Crown Royal, Kraken Rum, and McGillicuddy's Menthol Mint. So, yeah, I will be haunted by 3 spirits. And Jennifer Hawkins, Eric, you better go back to the comic book store and get me that new Winchester one.
They did not have it this week. I don't think they're getting theirs till next week. That's main. I thought that was the only thing I was going to go in there and get when I actually went. I was just going to pick it up for her, but they didn't have it. So.
Oh, well.
Yes, I'm so proud of Sarah.
Yes. What? Sarah only 12? What happened? Yeah. The ongoing
3 books. 3 books.
3 books. That's pretty good. For her, that's very good. As opposed to, we're going to make rent today. So, So anyway, we have all reviewed a number of great books. We have also, like I said, thrown a number of them across the architecture here. And tonight we're going to go down the list of the things that we really enjoyed. And no set number on either. But who would like to go first?
I say Brian Rodman should go first because he's the one that have to do it via the comments.
That's true. Well, we will read his comments when he writes them. And yeah, right. Someone take my temperature and give it back when you're done. Anyway, we'll give it to Eric. Eric, what's your list here?
Well, I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to change that once after we share it.
All right.
But here we go.
I'm ready.
The pro player.
This year, since Comic Book Spectrum has started, I have purchased 104 comics.
Oh, jeez.
How much of a delay is there between now and live? I'm waiting to hear the wife scream. Nope. Okay. But as you can see, Image is my most purchased comic book, which surprised me. Marvel coming in second, which really there's only one title I like, and that's Moon Knight. But I've experimented with other titles, though I do like Devil's Reign. I'm gonna have to keep up with that. You know, and Aftershock, Dark Horse, and some places, studios I never heard of. Aftershock I didn't know about. Boom, Vault, DC. I only bought 5 comics, and not a single one was Superman.
Well, when you're down there getting Jennifer's book, I think you need to load up on some good ones too.
And the rest of them, I mean, just a book here and there. Something that, kind of...
What's the other Black Caravan book that you bought? Other than that techno horror crap.
What was it? It's in this stack somewhere.
And it's so bad it has to be in a plastic
And I
bag.
never read the techno horror book. I just like the cover. I was like, ooh, I never got around to it. But these are my 6 biggest turds. And we'll start out at the bottom 2 down there. Midnight Western Theater and The Picture of Everything Else, which were 2 of the very first books I reviewed on here. The Picture of Everything Else started out kind of cool, but there's no action in it. It's a very boring story, and it got worse as it went along. I picked up 3 issues. I was done. Skeleton Horses. That's not the name of that book. Midnight Western Theater. It was so late coming out, which was really bad. And then the story is just bad. The writing is bad. But the guy, it's only his second time writing a comic book. But my first outing was better than this.
That's true.
So, and X-Men Legends. I really look forward to this book. I really liked the first issue, and then it just went straight downhill after that. So it was an extreme disappointment. Sadly, the 2 worst issues I had were by Simonsons. The Simonsons did, I think, 3 and 4. Oh, wow. Then I picked up, a Larry Hama book because he did. I didn't like it, but there's a new one coming out. It's got Kitty and Nightcrawler on the cover from the 90s. And I might have to pick it up to try it again, but it's just not been good. Not been good. And The Good Asian, which is, critically raved about, is I bought the first issue and they treated all the Asian characters like stereotypes. Now, it is written by an Asian, which maybe that's okay then. But if someone else wrote this, they'd be complaining about the stereotyping of the characters, which it took me right out of the book. So I was done with that. Berserker.
Yeah, Berserker.
This is for the illiterate. If you just like pictures and not a lot of words, get Berserker. There's just not a lot of words in it.
Thank you for saving me money because it was like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Berserker's great. Berserker's great." It's like,
what little story there is in it could be interesting, but there's so little. I mean, there's pages with no dialogue at all. It's crazy. And then the turd award of the year for me is really anything written by Colin Bunn. But basically, this one now, Colin Bunn, dude's a hustler. He's got 4 books coming out next month. 4 different books by 4 different studios. I mean, the dude writes his butt off, but he sucks at it. But this one, the last book you'll ever read, I went through 3 issues. I tried. The first one was kind of interesting. There was no orgies in that one, but there was all these black covered covers you could get. You couldn't see what the covers were. Well, I found out they're because they got porn on them. Then the second issue had orgy scenes in it. I mean, and showing all kinds of crap. He likes his orgy and porn stuff. I couldn't get it. He gets my turd of the year award.
Does he get a truth in advertising caveat though for the last book of his series that you'll ever read? I mean, that's pretty.
Man, I hope so. I try to avoid them now, even though Heathens, the first issue was decent, but I skipped issue 2, and the issue 3 comes out next month. I'm just not even going to try it. I'm not going to try it. So now we go on to the books I actually did like.
Okay.
Okay. All 4 of my favorite books this year were Image books.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, it was for me too. I mean, it's not like it's the early 90s when that's almost all I was buying.
And trust me, I hate 90s Image, but who would have thought that I would, look at Lady Mechanica?
Mm-hmm.
There you
Yeah,
go.
which I had only heard of because of Free Comic Book Day the past few years. There's always been a Lady Mechanica book out there.
Mhm.
But as far as these go, there's only one really superhero book among them, and that's Geiger, which was a limited series that's over now. Trade paperback's out if people want to go get it. It was a great book. It's sad, and it's not your typical hero. And it's futuristic, nuclear holocaust kind of thing. Two Moons was another great book, which took a huge hiatus between I think after issue 4 and where it picked up again. But and I haven't read the new issues. I do have them though. But it's an epic story with demons and a Indian Native American Civil War veteran who could see them, and they're haunting his life. And it was a really good book. Vinyl, another one, which was it's bizarre. There's no superheroes in it. There's just a serial killer who likes to listen to music because it keeps his Alzheimer's at bay.
Nice.
And then my favorite book of the year, which gets my Fez Award. See my Fez Award?
Yes, I see it.
It must be
Excellent
good.
picture. Yeah, it must be spine licking.
It's
Good.
spine looking good. The Me You Love in the Dark, which I didn't know Scotty Young wrote comics as well as drew them. But man, he's an excellent writer. I love this series, even though it ended kind of not as good as the rest of the book. But overall, man, I'd give that a 9 overall, the whole series.
It did sound good.
It is good and interesting. I really enjoyed it. And it was probably my favorite book of the year.
Very cool.
Series of the year.
Right.
And
Eric, on your recommendations, I tried all of these, and the one I enjoyed the most was The Me You Love in the Dark. I agree. It was really good.
I liked the way he wrote it. And the other book he did about, I think, something in the Midwest or something like that. I'm going to have to go check it out because it's the same team, him and the artist and all that. Mm-hmm. And he's got a new book coming out next year, which I'm looking forward to and see what that turns out to be, too.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. Nicely presented, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to feel like such a schlub when it's my turn. Good Lord.
Dude, I feel like that right now.
Now I got to figure out what this other Black Caravan book was, because I'll admit some of these I didn't even read.
Okay, so we're about to get to the turds, the real turds.
Oh, hey, I bought Daisy 2 this week too, and I liked it. And I thought someone said last week that they disagreed with. They liked Daisy, and they thought I hadn't. I liked the first issue of Daisy.
Yeah.
No. What I said is that you didn't rave enough about Daisy.
Okay. This was really good too.
Again, that's what I'm about to say. That should have been an honorable mention because, like I said, out of all your suggestions, some of them I have actually read and been like tossed. This was one
hey, me too.
This was one of the ones that I was like, he underplayed this. This is actually good.
Yeah, it's good. And have you read issue 2 yet?
No, I didn't get issue 2 actually yet.
Yeah, it just I think it came out this week, and it came out really quick because I thought issue 1 had just come out really. Mm-hmm. So it is really good.
That's awesome. Well, while he's going through his collection there, Jennifer Hawkins says, I am shocked it is only 104. That's only 2 a week. Yeah, but the problem is he just started buying them about 3 weeks ago is the problem. So, but anyway, Dan Holofield is taking off to go backstage for Stupid O'Clock. Dan, have a great show, and check out Stupid O'Clock after this one, and then definitely Last Man Standing at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Lissy says maybe the spelling of Berserker should have been a sign. It was going to be good. Good point. Good point. We got the warning right on the cover.
So there's one of the porn covers.
And Eric has them all. Anyway, and Sarah says you're wanting to read all the Boys comics. Now, the Boys is pretty good. I've read the whole set. I read all the collections on of all things Hoopla, and it has a really interesting ending. It comes to an ending, and you will enjoy it. And Sarah says, I have the Geiger trade paperback. Glad to hear the synopsis, and wants to know what your rating was for Geiger.
Oh. Only because it didn't continue, I'm going to give it an 8. I would have given it a 9 otherwise. I wish it would have kept going. Hopefully they come back to it. It was really interesting to me. I want to see more of that world of the weirdness of what Las Vegas has turned into and how the different characters rule different parts of Vegas and about Geiger himself. I'd like to see more about him.
Very cool. Very cute. Very cool.
Ah, Black Caravan. Here we go. The electric black. Yeah, the electric black, the dark caravan.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea. You didn't even review that, or did you?
I didn't. No.
It's an attractive cover, though.
Yeah, that's why I
You
picked it up.
do.
I was like, I'll review that if what I'm. Yeah, I get a couple books, and if what I'm reading, I try to find something better. And then if the other one isn't better, I just go back to the first one and throw that across the room.
Oh, it got thrown. It got thrown. So you had that one, and that book. Oh my goodness!
The cover's so wicked.
Yeah, it's a nice cover.
Is Colin Bunn's name on that?
No,
God, it should be.
no.
Hey, here's another one I didn't read. I mean, there's books I bought I just did not read. But this one I should have known. This is basically all nudity when I got into it because there's a Brian's writing it down.
Well, while Eric's going through his stash there, and forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Christy Selmer, I think. But anyway, it's good to have you here. Two Moons sounds like of the similar vein of Rally Cry, an older fiction sci-fi book. It's about a regiment of Civil War characters that get accidentally teleported to an alien planet. Well, that's basically John Carter of Mars.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it. So... And Herogasm says and I'm looking forward to diving into it. Herogasm, okay. And the boys finally have an ending after a bazillion trade paperbacks. Nice. Yeah, I read the omnibuses, and I think there's only like 8 of those. If you get the regular trades, there's about 458 of them. There's a goodly number of them, but it does come to a definite ending. And it's
the TV series is pretty good too, even though it does differ from the comic books quite a bit.
Yeah, I hear of course it's got Carl Urban. I will watch anything with Carl Urban, even if it sucks out loud, which explains why I watched the remake of Pete's Dragon. I love the original with Helen Reddy and Mickey Rooney. The remake was trying to be socially conscious. And it's almost like the director went through, told Carl Urban in the first half, I want you to be the biggest a-hole you know how to be. I want you to be Judge Dredd without any of the redeeming features. And then in the second half goes, oh, wait a minute, changed my mind. Be lovable. Right now. It's almost like an acting exercise. And only Carl Urban could pull it off even as well as he has.
Wow.
But yeah, it's the remake of Pete's Dragon. It's pretty god awful. And Brian Rodman says, I wrote all mine out and then my app crashes. Oh, dude, I tell you what, if you can come back next week, you can deliver it then. How's that? I don't want to stress you out. And Jester at Large, I'm going to put a star by yours. We will come back to it after we're done with our reviews here. So, okay. But anyway, thank you, Eric.
Oh, thank you.
It's
been a fun year on the show. I have enjoyed it quite a bit, and I've read more obscure comics than I know what to do with.
Yeah, and you've got the pile there to prove it. So anyway, well done, sir. Well done. It has been fun. It has been fun. So Joe or Clyde, would either of you like to go next?
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Go ahead, Joe.
Get it over with, Joe.
And he left. Oh, I thought he left.
Like I said, everybody left.
Joe's like, I don't have to put up with this abuse.
I'm going to start off with the good stuff first because it's only 2 bad ones, and if I really start talking about the bad ones, stuff will happen. So honorable mentions. And hopefully she's still here. We got NOI number 1. That's an honorable mention.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I agree.
And because there's not an issue number 2 out as of yet, because we've been waiting to find out how the AI became like his best friend, Nebulizer number 1. Especially after what happened in this issue, because I'm up here like, oh, really? So the AI actually had feelings. Interesting. Let's expect what? Where's my issue number 2?
Joe, while you're look at the screen.
Yay!
Thank you, Cindy. We're
Brian's living issue 2 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian.
It's all research. It's all research.
So this brings us to, I don't look at issues, I look at full series up to this point. So I'm going to do it one by one. So the first series that I'm going to bring up, and you could get this off of their website, I believe it's called 186 Degrees. You got Fire Bitch 1 and 2. Alfred Trujillo and Kara Nicole. Let's just say this is not, I would say this is like PG-13 just because of the humor that's in it. But just imagine if it's almost like reverse Superman. Instead of, an alien coming to Earth, this alien race, reached out to this planet and they actually had an idea of who they need to save their world. However, in the middle of the transport, that so-called hero was in the middle of doing something else and they ended up pulling the wrong person. So happens that the person that they pulled became their best bet to survive. That's what Fire Bitch is all about. So 2 issues of that is already out. It was kind of like the thing to grab for this year if you're into stuff to that magnitude. Now, if you're into the more fantasy type stuff, and there is 4 issues of this out, I have different alternate covers, plus the Untold Prose origin of it. It's called Eco Raven. They are the last unicorn. And what Eco Raven is about is, imagine, let's say just like a fantasy world where all the magic is just about gone. And the elves and the magical creatures of the world kind of made a pact to band together to try to keep the magic together. And so happens that in doing so, there is a being that is out there that is half unicorn and half elf. And they're, using her to try to bring back the magic back to the realm there. However, let's just say one side decides to pull a fast one and everything goes to heck in a handbasket. And now the main character, Eco Raven, is now have to face the world on her own. And there's going to be, kind of like a journey that comes into that. Now, the Legend of Silk Rose, which is more of a prose thing, is the origin about how you could have a half unicorn, half elf. Because it's like, how can a unicorn mate with an elf?
In Tijuana.
So that's what
Eric, we're sharing a brain again. Cut it out.
Hey, you guys ever
there
been
goes the rails. Thanks to me.
What rails?
Have you ever been to one of those live mythology shows down in Tijuana? I tell you what.
The Virgin and the Unicorn. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
So if you're into that type of stuff, you can get this at equalworks.com, which is Daphne Lage's website. You can buy it directly there. There should be a issue 4 Kickstarter coming soon, as well as that is concerned.
Cool.
If you like feudal Japan and furries, I would also suggest 47 Furious Tales. I have 2 copies of issue number 1 and issue number 2, which I still got to read here. But this is about the 47 Ronin, done in such a way where it's more anthropomorphic. It's done by William S. Clinton and Alexia Valhausen. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name correctly. And Pops should know this one. Yes, I knew it. It's like as soon as I showed it, Pops going to say, "It's awesome. Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy Quentin." And then this one you should be able to get at comic book stores because I've been seeing Diamond releasing these as a whole. But the 4th issue of this And this is one of the series that is more or less of a shocker for me as a whole. And that is the Bloom series by Ted Sakura and Butch Mappa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what Bloom is about is, if you ever read any of Ted Sakura's other books, especially the book Apama, the main villain that's in Apama was actually thought about, and the backstory of how that character came about is in this book here, Bloom. It's about a mechanic who is a wannabe comic book creator who had this idea for a comic book series, and he was just trying to figure out what he needs to do, and he needed to come up with like a super villain for this character. So as he kept going through all these different iterations, he kept seeing all these different symbols and stuff in his head. He ended up finding like this mannequin with doing all this weird stuff, and he was in a nice relationship and everything. He just couldn't get it out of his head. So so his significant other, his fiance, they went to this rock concert, and he ended up meeting this singer at this rock concert, and convinced her to do a photo shoot because she had the look that he wanted to for this so-called super villainess. So she agrees to do it, and then one thing led to another, and something supernatural happened because of those symbols. I would leave it at that point, because once you start finding out what actually happened, and like I said, this issue here, I'm going to eventually review it on my show. There's a lot to say about this issue here. It ended up nicely. It ended up very nicely. So Ted Sakura book of Bloom, it's only 4 issues long. It was a very good read, and that came out all this year. And last but not least, and you guys know where I'm going with this here, because this is kind of like my number one. I do have to hand it up to Janelle Jones. Starting out with Future State Wonder Woman 1 and 2. She had something going for her with these 2 issues, and I'm glad that DC followed it up with the Wonder Girl series as a whole here. So that's like one of my top picks for the year here. I'm not going to show every cover, but as I kept saying, there's 6 issues out. By the time I get around to it, they're probably going to be 7 issues or something like that by the time I get around to reviewing this one here, if everything keeps going the route that it is with the mystery books. But it is a great read. All 6 issues came out this year, so I would suggest that you pick them up. Even if you don't pick up the Wonder Girl series, at least you could go back and at least look at Future State Wonder Woman, because Future State Wonder Woman to me was a good self-contained 2-issue romp of a story. If you want something short and sweet that doesn't go into like history or anything like that, but just a good, short, sweet, innocent type story where it actually shows the nature of what she's about, this is where you need to go, is the Future State Wonder Woman 1 and 2. But if you want the full history, start with Wonder Girl number 1, if you can still find it in first print or second print or however. I mean, there's so many different alternate covers for that, it's ridiculous. And then follow it up. That's pretty much it for me. Oh, no, that's only the good stuff. We have to talk about the bad.
Batman.
There's only two series here. I have a sneaky suspicion you're going to hear this again. Victim number 1, and I'm glad that it was only 1 issue. That's how bad this thing was. I did not suffer through it like a certain other person, but I felt his pain.
I know who it is.
With issue number 1, because I was so excited about it, because it brought back characters, it did other things, and then you read it and it's just like so disjointed that it was ridiculous. And that was Checkmate.
Mm-hmm.
So only thing we gotta say with this is Hadouken!
Did my heart good.
Now the other disappointing thing, I still might end up reviewing this, only because I could honestly say it's not my cup of tea, but the whole concept of this is just many years too late. And that is Wonder Woman Evolution. Again, why do we need another Trials of Wonder Woman story? Especially one that makes no freaking sense from Future State. So now you're going to put, give her a trial. This is the only person that was worthy enough to be a member of the Quintessence and refused. And then the powers that be going is like, oh, we're going to put you on trial for all superheroes for you could prove that, everything, that the heroes are worthy enough and this, that, and the other. And you do it in such a way that you use familiar tropes from her history, such as Steve Trevor, her finding a version of Steve Trevor, and she's up here trying to figure out what is wrong and gave no indication. And then, it's this issue right here, issue number 2. It's like you putting her on trial for what? It's like you saying that she has to represent all of humanity for what purpose? Again, with this here, and like I said, I'm going to do the full review of it, but to me, it's like it's stupid. The concept is stupid, so get rid of it. And that's pretty much it.
Wow, and for you to toss a Wonder Woman comic, that's pretty impressive. Wow. Well done, sir. Well done. Mm-hmm. Yes, seriously.
See, I'm a diehard fan, but I'm not a homer. Yeah. Not everything that's Wonder Woman is good.
I agree. I understand. There's a couple Superman I could be a little more fond of too. But Jesser Large says, yeah, mess with the unicorn to get the horn. And Daphne said it is porn. So, and Pop says, yes, for 47 Furious Tales is awesome. And Sarah says, I nailed the author. Hush with the thoughts. Anyway, let's see. And Sarah is nailing authors. Cool. Not until I see the video. And let's see. And hush about the wording. Anyway. And let's see. Here we go. And yeah, Jody is tossing. That's right. And let's see. Throw them both. And let's see. Oh, and what about the one about the women fighting to become empress? Toss that one too. So
that's not even worth bringing back up ever again.
Yeah. I think I know the one you're talking about. So anyway, Clyde, do you want to go next? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
I can do it.
We'll give it to you. Then we'll read Mr. Rodman's, and then I'll do mine. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Like we have a plan.
Yeah.
I killed myself.
You have your duck on my heraldry. I like it. That's really cool.
That duck is it's on Lady Mechanica, and now it's on your flag. So there.
Okay, so what I did is I made a list of 10 of the books. When I write down my reviews, one of the advantages of it is I have all my scores. So it's easier at the end of the year to do any kind of project like this. So I went back and I put together issues that I thought were scored higher than most of the others, or if there were some that were tied, the ones I, in hindsight, liked best. And then I picked out 10 series, and I have 2 Hall of Shame candidates. One is a Hall of Shame, the other one is a dishonorary mention, dishonorable mention. So, but to start off with, we have, for just single issues, Moon Knight #4, Marvel Comics, with an initial score of 9. Eric got
the Tiger
me.
issue.
I'm sorry?
The Tiger issue. Yes. And Eric got me back into being interested in this character, and just in time for this series. It is excellent. I was surprised. I don't read a lot of Marvel, but 2 of them made the top 10 and very high scores. So, good on Marvel for doing some things that were not necessarily big event crossovers, but built on characters very well. Mm-hmm. So there's this one. And then number 2 with a 9 also was Spider-Man Life Story Annual, #1 from Marvel. Looking at the story of J. Jonah Jameson as told in the Spider-Man Life Story version, where
people actually age as they did not do in the comic books through the decades. Just a beautiful, one of the best J. Jonah Jameson stories, making him a very flawed character, but not necessarily a villain and not necessarily a hero, but somebody who's flawed but becomes better as it goes along, as his life goes along, and he sees what Spider-Man is actually all about. For horror, there was a lot of good horror stuff. Brian Rodman, I believe, mentioned earlier, this was a banner year for some good independent horror. One of the best was from one of the big companies, one of the most stylish, I will say. And that is The Nice House on the Lake, #1. It's a DC Black Label, and I gave it a score of 8.5, which is unusual for a #1, but this has the potential to either be a gold mine as all 12 issues play out, or it could, sometimes with the big ones, as it goes along, they disappoint. I'm hoping that it will continue its upward trend because it's been good and very stylish so far. One of the series that I like from Dark Horse is Black Hammer Visions, and #8 was probably the best Halloween story ever. It is kind of the Ghost Rider version of the analogs that Black Hammer is into, that crosses both the modern day and the Western hero's past. A cursed Western hero is very, very well done. It actually, these are all done in the Black Hammer universe with different creators, getting a chance to play in that sandbox. This is one of my very favorite of several good issues of the Visions title. We have Far Sector #11, which I did not dig out. Actually, I think I have it on. It's a e-comic that I got, so I got it virtually. But Far Sector #11, most of it was in 2020, but the last part in the TPB was 2021, and the windup of a very good science fiction series, and the last of the Young Animal books, which was a very good imprint for tweens and teenage and YA comic book fans. Far Sector was a great science fiction delve into Green Lantern possibilities. It was far and above my best sci-fi series in a long time. Shang-Chi #2, Marvel, with a score of 8.5. And Shang-Chi, the whole series has been enjoyable, one of my favorite reads every month. They pit him against people and characters that are more well-known, but they show past relationships with him. And he always holds his own, and they write him very intelligently for building that character into somebody very viable. And, at the same time that the movies came out and everything, it was a very nice and sometimes unusual for Marvel blend of making the character really shine and having a movie come out featuring that character. Sometimes it seems like both DC and Marvel have they miss an opportunity of like, this movie's coming out. Are you going to do something new and fresh or something that kind of ties in with it? No, they don't. In this case, they did. Nightwing #87. And I combined these. Nightwing Annual #1. Combined score 8.5 because Tom Taylor has been knocking it out of the park with all the Nightwing books. And the Nightwing 87 is told all in one continuing panel through the whole book. It's kind of gimmicky, but it's also very, very stylish and creative. And I give him full kudos, along with a great annual that was everything I want all my Christmas stories to be and not about Christmas. So very nice combination. Wonder Girl #4. Of all the Wonder Girl books so far, #4 has been my favorite. A lot of it has to do with the artwork, and I love this cover. It's been a consistently great book. 8.5 out of my ratings for this one. It was, but so far, this has been my favorite single Wonder Girl issue. Barbaric #2, Vault Comics, got a score of 8. This is not one that I didn't know what to make of it when I first got it, but sometimes that's the gold nugget you find and you didn't expect, and it became one of those titles. It's clever. It is violent. It's D&D for smart people. A really clever take. Everything from the weapons that she has tattoos of that can become real weapons, to the poor barbarian who's cursed to only do good deeds by his bloodthirsty battle axe. Creative and different. And Buddy Mask number 3. Again, it's a virtual one, but of the Aftershock Comics horror titles, Buddy Mask was one of my favorites this year. The number 3 brought the story into a focus where there's a balance, kind of like Blue Flame we were talking about, between reality and what this person is, the supernatural realm that he's straddling, as he deals with this Bunny Mask character, who he thinks at first is a figment of his imagination, and then he finds out she is not. She has all the makings for a wonderful. I'd love to see a movie based on it. She's a great horror character that usually takes evil people to task. So kind of a Phantom Stranger, but really very trippy, very out there. So this brings us to best series of the year. The highest ranking one overall is almost a guilty pleasure, but it's so good. The 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton from Image Comics.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give it a score of 8.5 because every issue just brought it. And it's so, between the covers being a take on all of the cover of the era, the decade that they were highlighting, all the way to the interview sections, like Playboy interviews with the characters that were dealing with this Trigger Keaton main character. It was amazing. It had a little stumble at the end of the series, some people thought, but I still enjoyed it enough to make it my top ranked series of the year. Number 2, Nightwing, with a score of 8.5, just for overall Tom Taylor goodness in redefining and bringing back the things about Dick Grayson that we love. It is funny. It is heartfelt. It is, I call it my Batman book for people that don't care for most Batman books. And I think that if you're a Superman fan and you still want a Batman comic to go for, to please you, Nightwing should do it for you. And then we have the Blue Flame from Vault Comics, a score of 8.5 because of everything that Brian Morris said and what I added about quite a psychological trip between the real life journeyman hero guy that volunteers to show up at they solve crime, but they're more like cosplay superheroes in the real world who becomes a cosmic hero saving mankind, or at least defending mankind in a trial put on by aliens. And another one that I didn't know how to take it first, and it ended up being one of my favorite reads. I'm waiting for the final issue, 7 Swords from Aftershock Comics, with a score of 8 because of its intricate look at historical characters and bringing them into real historical characters that have been fictionalized, along with some fictional characters from the same era, to make a league of extraordinary gentlemen that are all sword masters, male and female, from across the 17th, I believe, century. It sounds kind of dry. It is not. It is very exciting, and it is very well researched. Moon Knight series with a score of 8. Yeah, it has been a delight. It has been just wonderful, and a good way to, I hadn't kept up with the hero, and this series just brings me right in. I haven't gone back to read anything else because it presents it. That's a masterful storyteller that can enhance the or propel a plot and give you a lot of background as it goes along naturally and organically to make you feel like you've been with the title the whole time. Wonder Girl also gets a score of 8, just as an overall series.
Does it have Batman ads in it? Because I'm allergic to Batman ads.
We have a Stargirl ad. That's good.
I was referring to the line. The line that's in the
okay.
when she was drinking the ambrosia for the first time.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. But just overall, one of my favorite reads every month. I love the the floodgate it's giving us in a look at how Amazons are defined and structured in the DC universe around a heroine that is awesome. So this is kind of one of those guilty pleasures also. Out of Body, Aftershock Comics with a score of 7.5. This was really trippy, as you can tell by the art on the cover. It wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I don't care. I thought this was a great exploration of psychic power and inner space with a hero who's on life support for the entire book, pretty much. A murder mystery that he has to solve with astral projection. It was really good, very creative. Bunny Mask from Aftershock Comics also gets a score of 7.5 just because of all the trippiness it brings and being the basis for a great female horror character. And for younger readers, Eve from Boom Studios gets a score of 7.5. A very enjoyable science fiction excursion with a hopeful future. Unlike a lot of the dystopian, it is dystopian, but it has a very positive message and a hopeful ending for the future. And this one is a so far. I normally wouldn't include it, but I have been impressed with it. So I included Knights of Steel from DC. It's got a score of 8, but because there's only 2 issues, I dropped it to the bottom of the list. It just barely makes it because we haven't seen enough of it yet. They could still mess it up. But again, Tom Taylor, I'm really liking his stuff. And this is a Game of Thrones with major DC characters in a fantasy setting. And so far, it has not disappointed at all.
This sounds like Batman.
Knights, not just Batman. It's a whole entourage, and they're Knights of Steel. So,
Dark and otherwise.
My favorite TPD of 2020, or TPB of 2021, is Red Fork. Now, again, a lot of it came out in 2020, but the TPB came out 2021. Red Fork is from TKO Studios. It got a score of 9. Alex Packnadel is the writer. If you have not read any of his stuff, most especially Friendo, because he was just up and coming when he put that out in 2017, go back and read Friendo. It's just awesome. He's a great writer. And Red Fork is all about a mining town in the modern day that is dealing with a curse from a century past. Very, very creepy stuff but a modern sensibility to it. It also reminds you of Justified from some of the characters in it, with coal mining being part of the background, and the way of living, the way of making a living, and the downfall and opiate addiction brought on by hard labor. It has a whole lot of folding in of those kind of themes. Worst comic book of the year. I did not bother to dig it out because I put wings on it to make it sale. I wasn't gonna bother finding it. I have read some bad books this year. I mean, I think we've had a lot of good books overall. A very impressive list of good to great books. But I have read some bad ones, some that started bad, some that were just through and through bad. Some that started off well and ended up bad. But to be worst, a title must hit a lower plateau. It has to be a 666th level of wasted potential, wasted talent, and overall wasted opportunity. So my
by
pick,
Colin Bunn.
No, actually, Colin, unless he was like, maybe he backed this one if they needed backers. His name was not mentioned, but my pick for the worst book of the year is regrettably Chilling Adventures in Sorcery #1. It's a one-shot from Archie Comics to come out at Halloween. They messed that up because it came out November 1st. I mean, every point along the way, it failed. Madam Satan brought back to a modern readership. Excellent. And wasted and failed. Beautiful cover to wrap around a turd. It's just not good. I actually crafted bat wings to pitch it to make it more Halloween-y. I don't pitch a lot of books either, but that one I took real delight in pitching. And for me to do that with I have only the highest respect for some of Archie Comics titles in the last few years, but they have hit an all-time high and low with their offerings of late. And this one I did not mention before because I didn't want to draw any undue attention to it. Because if you say Star Wars, you'll have some people that'll buy it because Star Wars. If you have a cool Princess Leia cover, people will buy it because it has a cool Princess Leia cover. So I didn't give it any heads up. It was kind of a Christmas issue. But this is the dishonorable mention of Star Wars Life Day #1.
Oh God.
It is twice as good as Chilling Adventures in Sorcery one-shot from Archie. But since I would have rated that one about a 1.5, this one hits about a 3. People that liked Star Wars got this, and then I was reading some on some review sites. They were just screaming, just, oh my gosh, they killed trees to make this. This is awful. This is, it is one of those tells several stories at once and tells none of them well or satisfyingly, or that gives you anything that you care about the characters that you have built-in caring of the characters like Princess Leia. And you by the time you're done with this, you're like, yeah, those characters might be overblown. They're not that good. So it not only makes you dislike that you paid for this book, but it also makes you not like your favorite Star Wars characters as much. So boo hiss to you and bah humbug for a Christmas type issue. Things I'm looking forward to in 2022. IDW is publishing that Captain Action Classic Collection that DC's authorizing.
Yay!
Knights of Steel is continuing its run at DC. I want to see how that goes. I have the long shot hope of Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes, despite Brian Michael Bendis being part of it. I hope blooms eternal. I know. And Devil's Reign at Marvel. I want to see how that goes along with Eric. So those are my hopes for 2022.
I'm surprised that one of my hopes for 2022 didn't make your list.
What's that one? Oh, the Nebulizer #2. Actually,
no, She-Hulk #1.
Oh,
right.
The She-Hulk series in January.
Actually, I didn't forget. I wrote this down on separate because I include the creators that I know personally. It's a different list, but Animal Eye 1 and the Nebulizer 1 tied for best issues of creative folks that I know, and the Zombie World of Oz for best series from creators that I know. Joe, I have not read any of your stuff, so I don't know. I'll have to get some.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't evaluate it because I haven't read any of it. I'm sorry, but I haven't yet. So
no worries. Like I said, 2022 is going to be kind of like a year for me to reacquaint people with what I do.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, Clyde.
You're welcome.
Well done. Well, let's get Mr. Rodman here while he's still with us. He says, let's try again with his picks for 2020. My picks for 2021 says Brian Rodman, The Last Ronin, Batman 89, Acheron, The Me You Love in the Dark, Shudder and / Creeps Magazine, Headlopper, Ed Gein, I don't care what anyone says, Demon Hunter, Superman 78.
Continue.
And
I want to know what that continue.
here it is. And for goodness sakes, and honestly, the one that impressed me the most was Zombie for World of Oz. From numbers 1 through 3, I saw an artist grow in storytelling and grab me from the get-go. It took a familiar world and gave it an epic twist. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry.
And he goes, you're going to make me cry. Thank you, sir. And can't wait for number 4. And let's see here if there's
me neither.
Yeah. Me either.
The answer to one of the questions that came up here, it really depends on what you prefer and how much money you have. And the question that was asked is like, they said, I never read any Wonder Woman book. Where should I start? And there's been so many different versions of Wonder Woman that it's not like one is like, start here with this issue. It's like, what aspect of superheroines do you like? And then I could point you as far as which direction you need to go. I just can't just say, start with this one over here, because what you read over here is not the same Wonder Woman that you read from the very beginning when Marston had it, or when George Perez had it, or when John Byrne had it. It's just that diverse of a character.
Yeah. Well, speaking, you mentioned George Perez. I have to say one thing real quick. GCC, or excuse me, the main company that does the slabbing,
CGC.
Thank you, Joe. They are having they have periodically exclusive autograph sessions and slabbings with specific creators, and they are going to be doing one soon with George Perez. Ooh. He is going to get his own personal label across the top of the slab, telling you what's in the book and all. He is only going to be signing, not doing any art whatsoever, which I can imagine because of the time it would take, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. And you have till January 31st to get your books into CGC's hands. But the money from this is going to go to George and his estate. So, kudos to you. If anyone's got something nasty to say about slabbing, this proves you wrong. Suck it. Anyway,
slabbing is necessary for preservation.
Yeah. I've come around to slabbing for that reason alone. I've got a couple books that time is taking a toll just existing. Oxygen can speed up the deterioration in paper because of the acid in it. Or sometimes I got them in poor condition and I just want to keep them from deteriorating further just to have them down the road for someone else. So,
and as a creator, you can sign up for your own personal account on CGC and get your own books slabbed at a very big discount.
Yes, I've seen that.
And then sell them for lots of money.
There we go. Yeah, that's on my list of things to do this year. Now, Brian Rodman continues. As far as my worst of the year, I have two. One is in the other room, and I can't get it, but it was that god-awful book from Behemoth. Also, I'm giving Scout Comics a turd because they keep putting out only number ones. For the love of all things holy, put out a number 2 for once. Brian, we may surprise you later on. And there's Sarah's comment. We can help you with that. Jennifer Hawkins says, I think Rodman's trying to take my place in the head in the jar page. And you might like Moon Knight. It's just dark enough for you, I think. And yeah, Mr. Hawkins can help. And Sarah's got all kinds of cool things that she's looking forward to. Monstrous. Moon Knight is cool, says Eric, but the new series is a great jumping on point. It's only 6 issues in. And so to shut up all the cat haters out there, Luna knows when I'm having asthma problems. When I get my nebulizer out and lays down, she has to lay next to me. She is very protective. She is next to me currently. Well, that's good. That's good.
She's a good car kid.
That's right.
She's waiting for you to keel over to eat your carcass.
That's right. Yeah, it wasn't Marie Provost. This could happen. And sweet Nurse Luna says Carl Witzman. Lizzie says, it's a good kitty. And Sarah goes, Rodman. And I think Clyde just called D&D players stupid. Savage. Clyde just woke up today and chose violence.
I didn't mean it to sound that way.
That's what happens when people take what you say and turn it on their ear, because your exact words is that this is D&D for smart people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so they heard he just called D&D stupid.
No.
I get that all the time, Clyde. Get used to it, man.
Let's be honest. D&D's for a special level of nerdiness.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I've been printing D&D miniatures, but I don't even play the game.
There we go. Because he wants to exploit them. And Carl says, yes, I must get the 6 sidekicks. And Sarah, D&D is a passion. Well, one of mine that's lasted a few decades. Mine too. I'm an old-time player myself.
1979, the first game I ever played in the advanced D&D. And so I didn't mean it as a slam at all. I just meant that I have read a lot of stories that are, if you read one D&D story, a lot of times you have read many because they kind of are similar. This one it went from a different angle and it did it very creatively. So that was what I meant. I did not mean to say, because I'd be calling myself the biggest stupid person in the room because I love D&D, so
I'm an idiot too. So yeah.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh, people are going to say something, but I don't think he meant it that way.
yeah.
No, and if I had said it, the torches and the pitchforks would be outside, and you'd be seeing them, nearing them now. Now, one day when I have the time, says Brian Rodman, I'd love to play. I've played once before and had a blast. There are also superhero games like that too, and as well as the upcoming game with Joe D. McFee and Nick Tockert. So Lizzie says, I've never played, but I've helped create a few campaigns for a friend. It was a lot of fun and a great creativity exercise. Yes. And Mechanica is what got Sarah into steampunk. Now she has a few trade paperbacks of it, and Brian Rodman approves.
She enjoyed the mystery book.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And Brian Rodman, Vampire the Masquerade is finally in comic form now, too. Character creation sheets in the back. There's also some for Rick and Morty, too. Rick and Morty has done a series of D&D books with stat pages. Oh, and Brian Rodman has had The Last Witch on my picks for 2021. Such a good book. And returns the social distancing high five from Sarah. And Gone to Clarion pre-New 52. That was good. That was Grant Morrison. And yes, Star Wars did a Life Day comic. Who thought that was a good idea? And Sarah is not a Star Wars fan. And for the record, Brian Rodman knew what Clyde meant. I just enjoy being that guy. And Sarah goes, it's all good, Clyde. I got you what you were saying. So we're all caught up. We've saved Clyde. So now it's my turn. And I'll just keep everybody on the screen for this one. I made a list, and it's quite a volume. This one is actually, I read a lot of good comics this year. I really did. When I sat down and thought, I'm going to go through my honorable mentions first, which will include Pride Comics, Infinite Frontier, Scooby-Doo Mysteries, Superman Action, Blue Flame, Crime Syndicate, thanks to Joe D. McFee. I got to thank him publicly.
I forgot about that one. That would have been on my list too.
Yeah, that was a fantastic read, and I wouldn't mind if they did more. Superman, Son of Kal-El. I agree with Brian about Shudder and Countess Camilla. Vampires Camilla, rather. Dead Box by Mark Russell. That was an excellent read so far. And both The Return and The Trial of Ultraman. I did not want to pick up the first issue. I thought it was kind of dull, except for the Alex Ross painting on the front. But once I got the trade paperback, I had to start buying the second series. It was that good. It was true to the spirit of the original while presenting a brand new image of Ultraman. Also, like the Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries, Batman The Adventures Continued, Batman 89. Some of the best stories I've read this year were the movie and cartoon tie-ins, in my opinion. And also, I've got to give shout-outs to not just 47 Furious Tales, Fire Bitch, and Animal Eye, all of which were excellent. But also, I like Beowulf from Grant Lankard, Floppy Cop. That was one of the funniest books I've read in years, by Dan Doherty and Seth DeMoose. Really loved it. And also, of course, Zombiful World of Oz.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, man, Brian nailed it. You have come so far. You are exceptional. That is an exceptional series. And I love every issue of it. I really do. And Memoirs of an Angel, I've definitely enjoyed that. And The Nebulizer, I think, is one of the best comics, again, that I've read in years. Let's see, and I think that's all I have for the independents. And again, I've got to get on Joe's bandwagon too. I've been lax about that, and I publicly apologize for it. And then I'm going to bring up the 3 most interesting comics I think I've read this year. Here we go. And I actually, I brought them up, and in order. My bad. Humor, definitely intelligent humor. Great art by Peter Krause. A lot of really funny stuff going on in this book. And how the stories, although they're running like 3 different plot lines, they all tie together. And it's creating a whole freakish world of superheroes that I used to play a video game called something like Superhero League of Hoboken. About
yes, that old game. Yes, I still have it.
Yeah, I would love to get one. If one I could run on Windows 11. But anyway, it was a funny video game, and My Bad reminds me of that. It's got a lot of great humor, some stuff that's just totally out of left field, and it makes me laugh every time. My second favorite is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This has gone from really fascinating storylines to the last couple issues have been suspenseful. This issue will make you bawl, or the latest issue, I should say, number 6, will make you bawl like an infant. As it counterpoints what Supergirl is going through to try to escape another death trap, while reminiscing about her life once Krypton exploded. It's a touching stuff. I mean, it'll make you cry. It really will. But the whole premise is Supergirl goes to a planet with a red sun, winds up being attacked by a guy there who shoots Crypto, the super dog, who also has no powers under a red sun. And now Supergirl is helping a young woman. Both of them want him. The friend wants Kim dead. Supergirl just wants to find out what the poison was so she can save Crypto. But there's some great writing by Tom King on this one. And now this next comic, it's going to surprise Brian because it's actually a number 2 from Scout Comics. It just came out last week called Impossible Jones. It's written by Carl Kessel, who's written for DC and Marvel. You dig it, right, Joe?
No, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Impossible Jones, and I just thought about it as like issue number 2 of a Scout comic. It's like there've been some issue number 2s, but you just don't. After issue number 1, you don't hear nobody else talking about those series.
Yeah,
except for that one.
Yeah, and this is really, really good stuff. David Hahn does the pencils for it. They just recently had a Kickstarter for an Impossible Jones comic that actually they're adding pages left and right. This has some of the most. This is kind of like a fresh take on Plastic Man. Her powers are very similar to Plastic Man. The dialogue is funny. We're having a flashback sequence about the origin of Impossible Jones, and this just is a thrill. It's what I like writing myself, where it can have a humorous slant to it, but there are life and death stakes involved. If you read Sandestein, that's what that book is about. There's some serious crap going on, and the art is beautiful. The premise is intelligent, and this book just keeps getting better and better. Those are my 3 top choices of the year. Now, all of my runners-up had their great moments this year. No denying that. Now, my big stinkers, though, number 3 was Exciting Comics from Antarctic Press. I was excited with the idea of reviving public domain characters. And as it is now, the only one they're working with is Nature Boy. And they've turned him into a man, and he's got a mysterious past. And, technically it's an okay written book, but and the art is all right, but I'm just not really excited about reading the same coming of age story over and over. And why take the original Jerry Siegel stuff was good, dumb fun. Emphasis on dumb. Like the Beatnik from Outer Space. How do you follow that up? And instead they're turning it into a serious story, which I'm just not appreciating. And some of the editorial choices I have not been thrilled with, as some of the recent stories are clearly part of a larger story. Like they should be a one-shot. But they kind of think, well, the stories are reading like, well, I've got these other stories. I need 6 pages. I'll just pull it out of this one story. So the stories don't really come to a conclusion. They just end. So that's my number 3. I have taken it off my pull list. I did buy full transparency. I bought the latest issue out of curiosity. I won't be making that mistake again. Number 2 is Checkmate. You're going, oh my God, with the venom you've had for Checkmate, dear God, what is number 1? Checkmate, I went in with high expectations because it was Brian Michael Bendis, teamed up with Alex Malave, who did an incredible run on Daredevil. Checkmate was a lot of areas where dramatic choices in the storytelling were made where an editor should have said, Brian, what the hell are you doing? Where is this going? Instead of resolving mysteries, you just kind of bring it to a conclusion and you just introduce another couple. The dialogue has been amazing. Brian Michael Bendis is one of the best dialogue writers in the industry today. If you like monologues, if you like, page after page of dialogue, Brian's your guy. And some of it has been interesting in other books. But the premise of the 6 best detectives in the DC universe uniting is a little thin in a couple of areas. And after Event Leviathan, which was clearly just a lead into Checkmate, and then Checkmate came to no real conclusion, no explanation for a lot of things, I couldn't bring it up because I've already gotten rid of the issues. I'm selling them to a dealer. I do not want these books in my collection any longer. And the number 1 most disappointing comic of the year, I'm with Clyde. It was Chilling Adventures of Sorcery by Archie Comics. Joe, on one of his appearances on this show, had an excellent rant about comic book horror, where it seems like revealing the horror ends the story. And I likened it to like Frankenstein. The minute the monster wiggles his fingers, the story's over. Now, in Chilling Adventures of Sorcery, I am doubly disappointed because the editor of this was their chief editor at Archie Comics. The thing reads like, and you read the editorial that's in there and goes, oh, I've wanted to work with these people for so long. Your job is to tell these people no, too. To tell them, why did Jughead's sandwich turn into a set of jaws to eat him alive? Why are we revisiting the idea? Wait a minute, what I'm doing is mirrored in a video game. Wonder how this is going to end. Well, you already spoiled it by the introduction on page 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It was a lot of bad choices where the editor should have stepped in and said, no, this doesn't make any sense. No, that's a terrible lead-in. But she didn't. She just wanted to work with her friends.
And you got the feeling that, they wanted to have as many stories as possible. So it became more of a, is this going to fill, can you whittle this down to fill 3 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, we'll go with it. Do you want to know how it plays out? No. As long as it'll fill the 3 pages, we're good.
Yeah, I just want to work with you, and we're paying the price for it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you about the Lady Satan appearance. The ending of that was totally out of left field. In fact, a lot of the stories in there had no real lead up to them, no real decent. If they didn't have a bad lead up, the Jughead story that I mentioned had a good lead up, but then the ending was like, where the hell did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
It was from a company, and this is my same objection to Checkmate, and to a degree, Exciting Comics, that the company has put out so much good work. And Archie and DC are two of the oldest comic book companies in existence.
Mm-hmm.
They started within years of each other, and you would think of them as those are the standards to which the rest of us working in the indie field really should be trying to measure up to. And they have not only dropped the ball, they've let all the air out of it and thrown it in the manure field with books like Checkmate and with Chilling Adventures.
And let Jughead Sandwich eat the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, how can you make these books worse? And I think it's just the disappointment that a company with that many resources behind it, and with the standard that they uphold, these things read like vanity projects. Like, I just want to do it, and I can do it because either I am a big name writer or I'm the head of the editorial department. Like there's and it is that sense of disappointment that fuels my anger at these things. I mean, these are stories that if I read them, and I hate to sound condescending, but if I'd read them in, say, an independent book, like something off a Kickstarter, I would write that off to inexperience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas with these books, especially Brian Michael Bendis, who has written some amazing, amazing stories over the years, this book, again, the creative choices were wrong to me. And it's almost like the thing exists to sell the next miniseries, which as a consumer, I resent.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I do not like these three books: Checkmate, Exciting Comics, and Chilling Adventures of Sorcery. And the thing is, I think Exciting Comics could pull it out. They could change their thrusts. They could be a little more careful about the where they cut off stories and such, or just buy the stories that fit that book, and hell, run more Batman ads. They might run some Batman ads. That the stuff sells, right? But anyway, the thing is, books. Thank goodness for books like the Nebulizer, like the Zombie World of Oz. Thank goodness for books like Impossible Jones and the Scooby-Doo Batman mysteries and such. There are so many good books out there. It's almost like the reverse of Sturgeon's Law, where Theodore Sturgeon once said 90% of everything is crap. If you look at the whole thing, it's probably true, even in comics. But there are so many comics out there that are so very good that they make up for the Checkmates and the thrilling and the chilling adventures type of books. That is one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, to point those books out and to give people a chance to purchase them and support them.
And there have been some years in the past where I put together a list of favorites, and it was not real hard. Mm-hmm. This year, I'm looking at, there were a lot of them I didn't include that I would love to have. Mm-hmm. Well, it makes me think of this as kind of a banner year for quality, because there were a lot of them that didn't quite make the cut that otherwise in years past they'd have been a shoe-in because everything else was so blah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree completely.
We've had a good year.
It has been an excellent year. There really has. So, and Brian Rodman, I think I've just pushed him over the edge. My God, it does exist. A number two.
Issue 2 for Scout Comics.
An issue number 2 for Scout Comics. So, yeah, you live to see the day, Brian. Be proud, young man. And Sarah,
Scout Comics is a Black Caravan, too.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that. Black Caravan's Scout Comics. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they have a Technicolor Horror number 1 season 2 coming out in February.
Oh, wow. Maybe
it's got a cool looking cover.
They're listening to us. See, the companies are listening to us by Jingo. And Sarah's still trying to figure out how Invincible became so popular. The Free Comic Book Day issue didn't capture my attention. Curious about it. And she's also curious about the Transformers My Little Pony crossover. I say just
I heard that was actually good.
I did too. I've heard nothing but good things about that one, and I have never purchased a single My Little Pony comic. I am immune to it somehow.
Oh, you're a brony. You can tell.
Oh yeah, I hide it so poorly. But no, the weirder the comics, I would lean into those because a lot of them turn out to be really, really good. But Invincible, to me, it's, and this, you may not have frame of reference. To me, it's like it's got the spirit of the early Spider-Mans. Mm-hmm. As a hero is exploring their powers and their relationship to other people. People change sides constantly. For a while, they're the best person in the world. Then they become, evil even. And then vice versa. And there's a lot of tie-ins to it. And it does come to a satisfactory conclusion. But yeah, I agree that the first couple issues were a little rough. Just kind of steeping you in normalcy before they drop you in the deep end. And Brian Rodman says, I'm so glad you started the show, Brian. I know when you started talking about on Nevermind the Furthermore, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. I'm so proud to be a part of this wonderful nerdy group. Love you guys. Right back at you, brother. Right back at you.
Brian.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate you so much, man. And
I still won't Never Lies a 2.
As Brian throws away his nebulizer and says, "Try and get it now, fanboy." But anyway, and I've got to say, at years end, thank you guys also for being part of this crew here. You could have done a whole lot different with your Thursday nights, but you chose to spend it with us and our audience. And I want to thank all three of you, and especially Joe here, who one time I called him with an hour and a half's notice, and this guy dropped what he was doing to be on the show. And so nothing but love from me to you guys. And
thanks for having us. Thanks for the invite. For hosting the party.
Oh, glad to. It's been my pleasure. Like I said, I wanted a positive show about comics, and yeah, we can point out when the field has fallen astray. But for the most part, I wanted a show about comics by people that love comics, about comics we love, and to give people an opportunity that when they hear about a comic, to be able to go out and get that comic, whether they go to their local comic shop, buy it off of Amazon, buy it off of any number of mail order places, or even Comixology and Amazon, that you could turn right around and say, I want that book, and you can get it. So that's the kind of show I wanted. I wanted a show that would try to be accurate about its comic book history, and I surrounded myself with experts. So, yay me.
And the audience gets to hear how Con Bun is. And if you like orgy books, you know what book to go out and actually get, even though I didn't like it. You might like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We always try to find some type of positive aspect to a negative book.
That's true. And not everything is a steaming pile of crap except for the Chilling Adventures of Sorcery. But anyway, and Checkmate had its moments. But anyway, so glad we could help, Sarah. And thank you all. Thank you and everyone here for being a part of this show. And good show and good season. Thank you, Carl. Thank you for your help. And don't worry, Joe, I'm doing research for it now. And we love you. We love you too, Sarah. Thank you so much. And thank you, Cindy Cap. Mwah. And I'm glad we could mention your comic on the air. Available from, oh God, I'm blanking on the name.
Their publication.
Thank you, bearpublications.com. Thank you so much. And I never would have known about Winchester Mystery House if it wasn't for this show. Mm-hmm. So, we've been done. And what about your Ghostwriter question? Yes. What about it? Anyway, we're being sincere here. He had a question, and
he probably
Norman Reedus?
Great Johnny
about Norman Reedus possibly being the next.
Yeah, I can see him as a Denny Ketch.
Yeah, I could too.
I can see that. I don't see him as a Johnny Blaze, and I don't see him as the new Ghostwriter with the car. I don't see either one. He has to be Danny Ketch. If he's anybody else, no.
I don't know much about Danny Ketch. I've seen him in a few comics, but I don't know very much about him. But Norman Reedus, I have a lot of confidence in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think if you guys think that he would line up all right with that character, that they should give him a shot. Let him try it out.
He even kind of looks like him.
He really does.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was, and the thing is, a good actor can overcome like the physical differences, and I know it's not really cool to say Nicolas Cage is a good actor anymore, but he did a good job in the first Ghost Rider movie. I think the second one, the script failed him badly.
Big time.
It was so bad that he phoned it in.
Yeah. And Nick Cage really doesn't do that.
And even on top of that, we got a bad Danny Ketch as far as that second movie was concerned too.
Yeah. Whereas in the first movie, we had a couple of, not just
we had Slade. We had Slade.
Carter Slade. That's who I was trying to think of.
We had Slade in the first one. And we saw the horse, the actual old school flaming horse. I'm like,
skeletal horse.
That's
where the skeletal horse is good.
Yes, exactly. But
when they play Ghost Riders in the sky in the background.
Oh gosh, yes.
Can you keep up? Yeah.
But we're for it. And here's the best example of all: Hugh Jackman, who's 9 inches taller than the standard Wolverine. But who remembered that once he got on screen? Well, okay, you. But,
I still love his portrayal of Wolverine, but I was like, man, he's awful tall.
Well, it's when he starts playing Puck. That's when we'll have.
I mean, I wanted to see
But
Danny
then
DeVito
again,
running around with
Puck was-
claws.
I believe Puck was originally 6'2" before he touched that gym.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Good point. And love Sam Elliott as the original Ghost Rider. Definitely. Sam Elliott can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. And Norman Reedus is Superman. Nick Cage is Crypto. Let's make this happen. Brian Robin, we're greenlighting that movie for sure. And now we have the car version of Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's maybe another one we'll bring back in 20 years when we need the licensing or the trademark on it. So, but anyway, I hope we answered your question there, Jester at Large Family Entertainment. Sign up for his YouTube channel. So I think, and we're nearing 3 hours again, but we had a lot of ground to cover today.
We had 5 people.
That's true.
5 people. That's right. And 5 excellent people. Well, 4.5. I'm not.
There seems to be a common denominator for having 3-hour shows too. I can't really figure out who it might. Oh, never mind. But yes, 5 people. 5 people.
5 people. That's the tipping point there. Yeah, the thing is, Joe's not. I wouldn't say Joe is the the chatty one here.
No.
I'm owning this one. And great show. Glad I caught it. We're glad you caught it too, my friend. We are here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for you Illinois people. And anyway, we are here.
Half the country.
Well, yeah.
It's not just Illinois.
No, that's true. But just the people I tease about it. But anyway, we're glad you enjoyed it, and also be sure to check out our back episodes because they're still good too, because that's what back issues are all about. And so I think, unless anybody's got anything else to say, I think we have exhausted this topic tonight, and
I have 2 questions.
Okay,
Eric,
yes.
What's your what kind of drawing are you doing tonight?
We have no show tonight, so
sad.
I did. Oh, wait, hold on.
That's why I felt safe in keeping him here for 3 hours.
Now we Chester lives in Japan, the guy that hosts the show, and it's a very busy time for him, and we knew his holidays coming up, so we just canceled the show this week. I did draw. Where did I put it? Oh, so. But I did I have all these sketch covers laying around. I never draw on them, so I did Rick Grimes on this one.
Yeah.
And then I was just messing around with a caterpillar.
I beg your pardon. Is that code?
I gotta kind of make him kind of a zombified caterpillar for maybe some other book I might do.
Ooh,
but,
yes.
Does he have a pipe? Does he blow
have a pipe? Yeah.
Does he have? Yeah. Does he blow like smoke out of the holes in his neck? That'd be kind of cool.
Ooh.
A hookah.
Yeah. He is the hookah.
Yeah.
There we go.
The other question.
I can see that you have him there, and he's token on the hookah, and then you have other zombies around him also taking
hits off of his neck. Yeah.
Like he's a big sow, and all the piglets are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's disturbing.
Yes.
The other question is less disturbing, but did you get to watch the Book of Boba Fett yet, Eric?
Yes, I did.
What did you think? Just
I enjoyed it. I haven't seen any reviews on it really online yet, but I really liked it. I really dug the music to it too.
The same guy that did The Mandalorian and something else did the. I saw one of the reviews of it. I think he maybe did Shang-Chi also.
Oh, okay.
But he's kind of in the Marvel. Good. He's in the Marvel vein of they're shooting some interesting projects to him, and he's really coming through every time so far.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
and definitely Tamura Morrison.
Oh yeah.
Oh, whatever his name is. Boba Fett. He probably took some offense to the dad body jokes from the Mandalorian. Because he's been working out, because he's kind of lost that gut. He's looking pretty thick, because they show him one time without a shirt. Yeah,
yeah. I've been a big fan of his since was it 7 Nights, 6 Days? That movie with Harrison Ford.
6 Days, 7 Nights.
6 Days, 7 Nights. Thank you. Yeah, and David Schwimmer.
Yeah, I forgot about
Ian
him being
Hesh.
in that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
I've been a big fan since Aquaman.
Oh, there you go. There
There
you
you
go. Long-time fan. Yeah. First-time caller. And Tyler B. number 2 says, Jody McFee is my cousin.
Joe looks like he doesn't believe that.
Yeah. And Brian Robbins says, what a great year it's been for the show. Looking forward to next year. We are looking forward to it, too. I think we're going to be doing this show for a good long time. So, and Brian, we're so proud that you're a part of it, brother. We really are. So having done all that, and we have now hit 3 hours even.
Okay.
This is
I questioned our way into it. Okay, good.
Okay, good work. Good work. Good work. So I think the time has come to sign off, so we can stay here during the bladder busting after show. But anyway, let's start with you, Jody McFee. Let's see. Are you've muted yourself, sir? See, I can catch you. Or let's see. Hold on.
No,
Okay, hold on. That was me.
that's not.
Okay.
No, that wasn't it. There was something else going on here at the house.
Oh, okay. All right. So tell you what, we'll let you deal with that. But first, tell everybody how they can keep up with you, Joe, and tell them about your great show on Saturday nights.
Speaking of the show on Saturday nights, there will be a New Year's Day show. And what we're going to do on a New Year's Day show is the very first for the very beginning of the year. We're actually going to try to actually sell comics. So coming this Saturday, you can actually buy directly from me alternate covers of some of our books. And I would go through the history of how a lot of those books came about as far as the cover is concerned. And it would be your very first opportunity if you haven't purchased any of my books, because there's a few number ones that are there, as well as some other issues that had alternate covers that you could buy directly from me. And I'm going to tell you the story behind each one of those covers and why they were the way that they were. So that happens this Saturday, January 1st, New Year's Day, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern. And if you need to contact me outside that, you can contact me or either via Facebook, via our Instagram, Twitter, either at just look up my name on Facebook or through CGC Studios.
Excellent.
Soon I will have a link tree. It'd be easier that way. I'm still messing around with it.
I just got mine set up. I understand that. So anyway, Joe, as always, thank you for a great season, brother.
Okay.
Appreciate you so much. And next in line, Pro Slayer Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, how can people keep up with your amazing adventures?
I set up a link 3 months ago. I forgot about it. I posted it here a few times, and I just kind of forgot about going out there. Anyway, Creator of Zombie for World of Oz, issue 4 will be coming out next year. I'm going to launch March 10th. We'll be expanding the universe, the zombie full universe out into other books, at least one for sure next year. Hopefully I get 2, 3 books in total done, but we'll see. Because there is life. For some reason, it gets in the way of everything. But hey, social media, you can find me anywhere on social media, especially, Twitter or, let me turn the light on. Facebook, Instagram. I'm actually on ArtStation. I don't put much out there, but if there's social media out there, I'm probably out there somewhere. Just look for me.
All right, we will do that. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. And Clyde Hall, how can people keep up with your exploits?
Well, if you got a Amazon gift card, you can find some of my work in Pulp Reality 1, 2, or 3, www.stormgatepress.com, or on Amazon. I am an independent writer and a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. I am also part of this wild and raucous crew on Comic Book Spectrum. Before your midnight ball falls, make a New Year's resolution to follow Comic Book Spectrum. Every Thursday night, you can find me and my friends right here cooking up the ham and beans good luck meal of comic book reviews, geeky fun news, and previews of coolness that make you say, ooh. Follow me on Facebook at Clyde Hall, or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. And look up the Multiverse Fundraiser on Facebook as an event. It is under the Perrine Project, Multiverse Fundraiser Perrine Project, to see what I'll be doing in 2022.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Clyde. Thank you for a great season, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to mute everyone here and take over myself. I'm Brian K. Morris. I'm on a lot of social media, too, primarily on Facebook. And I got to get my link tree act together, too. I'm telling you right now. But anyway, you can follow me at risingtide.pub. We publish a monthly, free monthly newsletter. The next issue will go out New Year's Day, January 1st, around 5:15. If you sign up at that site, there is a link to it where you can sign up for it. If you do it before 5 o'clock that day, you will get the next issue. We have 2 secret links. I'll tell you what one is. One is a concert by one of my favorite musical groups ever. And the other link's kind of cool. It'll expand your world. Trust me on this one. Also, we have the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, who helps power this show. We have a Facebook page, and let's see, let me get to the right place here. They're the people that power this show. And we have all kinds of great stuff on there. So please go to our Facebook page and check out the latest schedule, which this isn't. We've got to update it. But check them out. Also, please subscribe to our pages on YouTube. That would help us so much. Also want to thank our friends, our Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators with a modest financial stipend every month. But we give you something in return for it. For instance, my blog, which I do at least once a week. And for $5 a month, you can see my latest novel, The Terrors, before anyone else does. That's coming out in the first quarter of 2022. But my Patreon subscribers have seen the first draft of it, which turned out pretty good. So please check it out. Also check out these people. They also have some great incentives of their own for your support. And if you want to see what I'm offering, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And we also want to thank, as always, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasmafire Graphics for sponsoring this and all of our episodes. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Check out Plasmafire Graphics' Facebook page for samples of their great work on for a lot of publishers out there. Then go to plasmafiregraphics.com, check those pages out, and then you can contact Jeffrey Hayes directly and get his rate card. Believe me, he is affordable for every indie creator out there. He does a lot of graphic services. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. That's Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your reader. And I would like to thank, I've thanked a whole lot of people on here, but we want to thank each and every one of you that have watched us on Facebook and YouTube and now Twitter and Twitch, which sounds like a rock group, Twitter and Twitch. But anyway, we're grateful to each one of you that have tuned in, that have shared this show, liked it, subscribed to my channel, and we're promising more good stuff in 2022. And we hope that we've turned you on to some really great comics out there, because they're out there. You just got to look for them. That's what we're here to do, to help. But anyway, thank you all for your support. And we'll be back next Thursday with the first episode of 2022 with the Fab. We'll probably make it the Fab 5. What the heck? This worked out. We'll have 3-hour shows forever. But anyway, please check out our back issues on YouTube especially. And as always, folks, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a fantastic New Year's Day. Be safe out there. And we'll see you next Thursday on Comic Book Spectrum. Take care, everyone.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide broadcast. Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide broadcast network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.